What's going on, everybody? There we are. Love how I'm always like coming up from my buttons because I got my buttons over here. How's everybody doing? What are we doing? What are we doing today? We are doing potentially, hopefully, for the most part, a like low key, not crazy. What up, Matthew? Doing a timeline, timeline. Timeline. I want to go back to I want to see from 1979 to 1990 is what I want to do. Want to start with, right? So we're gonna be doing text. We're gonna do images, seeing which the secret of the mimic. We're gonna start off quick and easy. We're gonna get some just the quick stuff. Secret of the mimic, game art. Whew, excuse me. Let's do. Should we have it saying Secret of the... I think we have it saying... Ooh, I like this one. Okay. Save image as... And then we need to... I'm going to save it into my Fnaf projects. I'm going to make a new project called Timeline. Folder. That's going to be called Timeline. Oh, snap. We're doing this? Yeah, where do you think UCN happens? I know after Fnaf 6. We'll get to it, but that'll be after the 90s. I want to stick to every decade. So we're going to start with the 90s, and then pre-90s. We're going to start with the 80s, and then we're moving to the 90s, and then the 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. And try and add in as much as we can from each, right? So here, what we want to do is can I just open up a file and pull? I think I can just open up files and pull projects or pull things in. So timeline, there we go. So if I just pull this over into here, what save? Wait, cancel. Hold on. Want to view. Wait, so can I not pull extra pictures in? What happens when I do... Yeah, sure, in this PC. Sure, for right now. Yeah. Oh, I can't save it to this PC. Okay, hold on. Sure, just right in there. Yeah. Okay, so I can't. Okay, so I'm gonna need GIMP. There probably, but I'm just gonna get GIMP instead. I was trying to see if I didn't need to get GIMP, but I'm just gonna get GIMP. GIMP 2. There you go. Yeah, give me about 10 seconds and we'll have it. I'd rather have the easier way of doing it where I can just chuck it down. Just chuck them in one at a time and go with it. Whoa, man. Okay. There we go. Done. Show in folder. Hello. Where we at? How's everybody doing today? Trying to get everything done. Dang, your crying child short is bigger than any other video. Yeah. That's, I mean. It doesn't matter. Yeah, install for all users. I'm good with that. Yeah, shorts tend to have the most views though, so it makes sense. I thought I was gonna be able to do it in Paint, and I probably still can, but I just don't want to bother trying to figure out all the intricacies of it when I already know how to do GIMP. What up, Cherry? Hello, hello. We are doing Ultimate Timeline stuff today. While I'm doing this, though, while we're doing that, I can, while that's setting up, we can grab the art for everything else. Fnaf 1. I know I don't need this picture just yet, but save image as, yeah, FNAF. Timeline, FNAF 1, perfect. FNAF 2. Yeah, that one. Save image as. FNAF 2 picture, that works. FNAF 3, which definitely won't be needed anytime soon. As FNAF 3, it's definitely not in the decade I'm working on right now, so don't need to worry about it. FNAF 4, on the other hand, is. We get a. I mean, I guess this is the best FNAF 4 picture, so save image as. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but I can change the name right here, so it's all good. Rename FNAF 4. FNAF SOTM. There we go. What? No, I rename FNAF Secret of the Mimic. Enter. There we go. I'm not searching emotes anymore. Hide that. There we go. That way I can see more chat. There we go with that one. How we doing here? Okay, finished there. Cool, that means I can move this back up here. I'm probably gonna have GIMP. Just get down here, because I'm probably gonna need you at times anyways. So, what up, Zach? Found a FNAF meme that gets me dying laughing. Oh man, there's so many. So many. GIMP 2.1. I haven't used GIMP in a little while. I used to use it all the time to make emotes and stuff. But now I have Dabs, and she's so much better at it than me that there's no point in me doing them most of the time. Alright. Anyways, now we got GIMP. Create. Okay, let's do new. Template. I just want to do a big ass picture. Web banner would be pretty cool, though, wouldn't it? Ooh, web banner would be cool. Web banner, large rectangle. No, not 336 by 280 pixels. Let's get this to, actually, hold on. Yeah, why did I say 336? No, I want way bigger. Full HD 1080p. That'll work. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Alright, now let's get... Okay, that's a straight line, right? Nope. Okay. Control Z. I didn't mean to do that. Control Z. Nope. There we go. Okay. Oh, wait. Hold on. We're on the wrong tool. Nah. That's my fault. Okay, hold on. Yeah, paintbrush tool. There we go. Alright. Now we want a straight line. Just... Well, that's not straight in the least bit. Okay, hold on. Can I make straight lines? I can make straight lines. I know I can. Okay. Hold on. Wait, there's other things here. Let me see what we got. Nope. No. There's a zoom tool. Oh, there's gotta be tools. Alright, pass. Paint tools. Is there no shape tool? There used to be shape tools. Oh, that's that crap right there. Yo, hey man, what's up? What's up, Soda? One that way mountain, Golden Freddy and Puppet. Ah, okay. Also, Puppet says a swear word. Ah, okay. I reckon you could use the first one and but just make it really thin. Yeah, right. Or maybe this right here. Oh wait. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. That might. Control Z. Why can't I make a line? Oh wait, hold on. Dissolve behind color case. I will remember how to do this soon. Give me a sec. Here we go. We're gonna do a rectangle select tool, and then fill in the rectangle. There we go. Boom, that worked. That's what we want. Cool. Okay. Now we got a new select tool. Do that. There we go. I figured out a cheat way of doing it. See, this is how things work, guys. This is how you do it, man. Okay. 1979. Oh, and that is very, very big text. Let's make that much smaller. Make that 18 font. Yeah, does that work better? 1979. That works a lot better. Okay, so now we know we're using 18 font. Okay, cool. Now we're doing another, and then from 1979, we're gonna go here. We're gonna fill this one in too. Come on. Hello? What's happening? Okay, yeah, we're now we're moving everything. Hold on. Back in here? Or is it because of this? Hold on. Background. No, we want. Oh yeah. Get out of 1979. Get into here. Go into there we go. That's what it was. I had to get out of the 1979 layer. Can you copy and paste the first one? I probably can. Have you heard of Ungel Benston or whatever that weird looking pig human's name is? I maybe, I don't know. Or this one right here, yeah. Okay, this one. Control C, Control V. No. Oh, maybe I can, but I don't know. Ah, yes, I can. Control V again. And we go there for now. There we go. And these ones, I believe I can just select them. No, I can't. But it's okay. That's fine. There we go. Okay, we got 1979 over here. Boom. I can make it bigger, I think. Yeah, I can make this big. I'm grabbing the background again. Okay. Weird face, hat, shirt, and jacket, and shorts, and he's scared. Okay. For the stream, so we're trying to do a decent timeline. Is what it is. So let me try this out. Let me pull this. Can I pull this in? Yes, I can. Now we just need to shrink it down. I just have to remember how to do it all. Shrink. Selection by. I don't care about the wand. I care about you. Move the... Uh-oh. Well, that was weird. Okay, hold on. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Get it gone. Okay, Control X. No, that doesn't bring it back. Okay. It was Samson, not Beston. I can't. I don't. It doesn't matter. I don't know what you're talking about, anyways, Cherry. And I'm trying to do something different than what you're talking about. Edit. Here we go. Edit. Edit. Where is the? I used to be able to do this so fast, you know. Transform. Oh, scale. Scale layer. There it is. Okay. I'm gonna try 600. Okay, and scale it even farther. So it was. Take it way down to 200. That'll work. That'll work. All right, cool. And then we move you to there. Wait, where's our other? Wait, what happened to our other layer? What happened to our 1979 layer? My text layer. Hold on. Now we gotta get a text layer in here again. 62 is too big. Let's go 24 for that. Okay. 24. 1979. No. Back in here. 1979. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, wait. Oh, now we gotta get out of there. There we go. Okay. Don't know what to do with it. What? Wait, Strider, what should I do with the tank that my crab lives in when my crab dies because I don't know what to do with it? You can either get rid of it or get a new animal that can go inside of it. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. You know, I want to be able to click this and just scale it. I want to be able to click on this one right here and just scale it down. But I can't. And then it makes me grab the background instead. Okay, so we got Mimic 1979. If we want to do... Really should make these maybe bigger. I can zoom in too if I really need to, which I'll probably end up freaking doing at this point, it seems like. Okay, 24. What about 36? We get in there with 36. We do 19. Let's do 1990 here. Yeah. And then we grab it. No, don't move that. Move the freaking layer. This is so hard to grab a layer and move it. Oh my god, I can do that to move it. I'm annoyed. That is ridiculous. Same with the 1979 layer if I want to move it. Go all the way to here to do it. Same thing with the Mimic. Oh my god. It's like it doesn't want me to be able to do this at all. Is the funny part about it. Okay. There we go. And now I can zoom in. I just gotta remember how. Oh, that's how. Yeah, 200%. Okay, cool. I'll go over here. There we go. 1970 to 1990. Okay, here we go. Wait, was the Mimic there? Yeah, 1979 is when the Mimic starts, funny enough. And then we get Fnaf 3 comes in, and it's going to be right... yeah, that's right. Let's do layers. Scale layer down to 200. Yes. Scale. There we go. Okay, that's better, bud. Right, you're going to go right there. For a 1983 piece. Oh, I'm on the background now. There we go. We get so lost with the timeline. That's why I'm trying to do this. So I'm attempting to do this. Control C, Control V. Magic wand to grab you and pull you over to here. So that way then I can pull in you, which will then again be a layer, scale layer, 200. Wait, whoa, what? Hold on. 1. Scale. Oh, hold on. Control Z. Okay. I didn't grab the right layer before I tried to do that scaling. How is FNAF 3 so early in the timeline? Because it takes place in 1983. There we go. Now we scale. 200. 199. Works even. It works better. It works better than that. There we go. It's right there. So then we grab these and we do that. 32 into there. 1983. Hold on. Yeah, 1983. There we go. Yeah, my mind is cooked. I thought it was way earlier. No. Okay, so I thought it took place. No. So the very technically out of the games that have been released, FNAF. Oh wait, no, not 3. Not 3. Hold on, I put the wrong one. No, you're right. I grabbed the wrong one. I meant FNAF 4. I grabbed the wrong one. That's my bad. No, you're right. I grabbed the wrong one. I meant to grab 4, and I clicked too soon. Is all it was. I see what you mean. There we go. Okay, yeah. I meant 3. I meant 4. I meant 4. No, yeah. Where you want to be, I just don't get it. Why do you want to stay 5 nights at Freddy's? So that actually, Cherry, I made a short about that. You can go watch the short on that because I made one that does a little bit of explaining that it's actually in the actual in the week before, which is a game continuity book. It explains it. 1987. There we go. 1987 brings that one into play, and there we go for that. But yeah, I was gonna say, how was he in the suit if it took 30? Yeah, exactly. No, I gotcha. No, I did. Yeah, that was my bad. So, okay, so what we know so these are the games that we know about that take place in the 80s, right? 1983, 1987, and then 1979. So, 83, so we can talk about 83. Do a big old bubble here. And in this bubble we can go with an 18, so we can write in things. So first things first, CC Afton 18 actually not is too big. Actually, hold on. Let's go with a 10 font. Yeah. CC Afton bit by Fredbear. What else do we know from 1983? Okay. First Freddy's location. Michael Afton. Well, 1983 is when we know. Hold on. We should actually put an asterisk above this too. 62, but another 32 down here. Mini games. Mini games. We're actually not as certain about when the see, this is the problem, is I'm not good with graphics. I'm not good with graphic design stuff, or with doing this kind of graphic design stuff. So honestly, I wish that I could just talk and someone else would be making this, but you know. So FNAF 1 takes place in the 90s. I wanted to try and do this myself, but honestly, I was in the mindset that I may end up just having to talk, and then when unfortunately when if Dabs was trying to make this a video, because we were talking about it, she would end up having to try and figure out how to make a graphic of this. So, but I've already decided to give up on the whole graphic thing because I'm so bad at this already. Hold on. I can still use it as a point of like pointing out things. 32. This is 2000. It is if you don't know what you're doing. And guess what? I don't know what I'm doing, to be fair. 2000. So anyways, okay. So we can talk about it this way. Timeline wise, so I wanted to try and get like a good timeline explained in today's stream as like a good start, if nothing else. So we do have a decent start between the 80s is kind of the most important decade so far in the FNAF universe. So 90s has a little bit go on, but like the 2000s to 2010s, 2000 and 2010 has really nothing going on game wise yet. I don't know. Steel Wool will try and supplant some extra games in there at some point. About the Fazbear Pepe Sylvia, I don't know what that is. What? Fazbear Pepe Sylvia? I don't know what that is. Cross. But anyways, yeah, so like 2000, 2010, nothing really happens that you can really point at Fazbear-wise. But then 2010s, we get Fazbear Frights in like 2017 to 2023, depending on who you are and what you feel. Where did I just put that? What? Oh, wait, I need to be on the background? Yeah. There we go. Oh, that is thicker than I meant for it to be. Hold on. Control V, Control V. That is very thick. So we're from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Oh, yeah. I loved that. I asked Dabs to make me like that basically, and she did a really good job on it. So I really enjoyed it as the thumbnail for today's stream. Yeah, I'm doing what I can to make this look cohesive. I'm terrible at graphic design, so I don't know why I decided that this would be a good way of me doing this. But yeah, here we are. Me being stupid and thinking that I can do something that I'm not good at. There we go. Alright, 2010, and then, we got the 2020s, and we go all the way into the 2030s. So I don't know why I got 2010s, because like I had to put like 2020 here, 40 here. Be thinner, and the pic's got to be smaller if you're going to make it. Oh, yeah, I know. That's why I decided to just stop. and just talk about it. And I gotta like move this one, like move 2000 to like here, and 2010 to like 2000 and 2010 could just sit right here, honestly, because like they could just go right here. Why? Oh yeah, it's a fucking line. I forgot that I lifted a line. There's these lines too, I guess. Oh hey, yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, it's on the 2010 one. It's not in the background. Okay, so if I go like that, what the hell? Yeah. Get out of there. I don't even see. That's the problem. I don't even know what the hell's going on. I can't make a timeline. Anyways, I can't physically make a timeline chart. I was gonna try to. It's not gonna work for me. We are going to just say screw it. Not even gonna worry about it. That was a lost cause. That was a failed experiment. Let's just get into this. Boop. Maybe one day in the future I'll try something and me and Dabs can collaborate more like actively to try and make something, but it ain't gonna happen right now. So anyway, so we start the timeline off. Now we know that the secret of the mimic is gonna be the first. It's gonna be the first stop. What about up and down? What about up and down? What do you mean up and down? What chaos? I suck at doing things. Visual stuff I'm bad at. Dabs is better than me at it. So if I was ever gonna do a timeline, I would have to have Dabs actually make it because I'm not gonna be able to. No, so trying to talk about the timeline, the things that we have to do or remember or whatnot is, I was gonna try and make the graphic or whatnot. Fuck that, man. I don't know what I'm doing in GIMP. I don't have Adobe Photoshop anymore. What is this? Oh, Roblox. Why is Roblox player borked looking? It's right there, but down here it looks broken. What is that? Okay. Yes, I guess. And you come down here again, I guess? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Anyways, sorry, I was confused by my own stuff. Oh. Is my window open? Let me open my window so we can get some cold air in here. My good bet. All right, have a good night, Cross. So we start with Secret of the Mimic. This is the game that I know the least amount about because we all should know the least amount about this game because it hasn't come out yet. It doesn't even really exist yet. But this is going to be like the beginning of it. This is where we're going to get the farthest back in the timeline, and we're not super sure what we're going to get out of the game. We know that we're in a warehouse, and we know that there's offices, there's going to be paperwork and stuff, which is probably going to have a lot in it. So when it finally comes out, that'll be like the thing. And the good news is that they are making a flat version, right? It's supposed to technically be a VR game, but they will be making it available to be played flat screen, like just on a computer. Like I'll be able to play it as a normal game, which is very nice. Charlie Theory? What about Charlie Theory? Drawing in person? So the Mimic is not Charlie. We can do that. Yeah. A lot of Steel Wolves games are VR games. It's a VR game. You can see right here. It's a VR game. Yeah, Charlie is not the Mimic. I don't like those kind of theories. We know that Charlie is alive all the way in at least 1983, if not later, depending on what actually happens. So there's no way that Charlie is the Mimic. The Mimic is buried and gone by time Charlie is murdered. And in the games, Charlie is not a robot. Yeah, at all, actually. Yeah, Charlie is never a robot in the games. As far as we can tell, there's nothing that alludes to Charlie being a robot in the games. Doesn't make sense for Charlie to be a robot in the games. Charlie dies real early and stuff. The Silver Eyes is not game continuity. It's a different... Common problem in theorizing for a lot of people is the fact that There is nothing that proves that the books and the games are in the same timeline. And the Silver Eyes series is confirmed to not be the same timeline as the games. So therefore, things that happen in the books and the Silver Eyes books cannot be directly connected to the games at all. It has way more than 3 different timelines. Even it's a multiverse. It's the FNAFiverse. Like it has multi universes in the lore, like in the in the continuity. It's just for lore. Yeah. Well, I mean, just like in general, like yeah, the FCU, the FNAF Cinematic Universe. Yeah, pretty much. Gave a little as possible clues to make the game. That was just for Security Breach. He's been a lot more open with future games going forward. He learned from his mistake in Security Breach and corrected it for Ruin. That's why Ruin is so much better than Security Breach is. Because he was trying to keep even Steel Wool in the dark on the main story as much as possible, so that way it wouldn't leak. And that's why I keep saying that, like, going forward in the next few years and like the next decade of FNAF, we're probably going to learn more things and have more information given to us openly than we ever have before, because as the old homage goes, 1 can keep a secret, or 2 can keep a secret if one of them is dead, which essentially means that if more than one person knows a secret, it's no longer a secret. Like, everyone else will eventually learn it, because one of those 2 people will eventually tell somebody else, and then somebody else, and then somebody else, and it'll go on and on and on. And that's eventually what's going to happen with Steel Wool. We're going to have multiple different things. Like, yeah, right? One thing we know is going to probably happen at some point is there will probably be someone who works at Steel Wool today who will eventually leave Steel Wool in the future, who will probably give us a bunch of secrets at some point because, you know, why not? There will be people who accidentally leak extra information, either through, like, social media posting, or they forgot to take something out of the code, or during interviews they let something slip that they didn't mean to. There's a lot of different ways that we're going to get extra information. And then there's the games themselves. Not everything can be, you know, with so many different people working on the game, it's going to be hard to keep track of everybody's work and constantly make sure that nobody put extra information into the game that they weren't supposed to, or that they definitely removed everything that they were supposed to. So, you know, there's that. Trying to think of what else. But yeah, there will be a lot of ways. Now, anyways, so timeline-wise, what we do know about Secret of the Mimic, is it all Scott's ideas, or is it a mix of both Scott and Stu? I think he's pulling the, what do you call it? I think he's pulling the passing of the torch situation, where he's basically, he's pulling a Matt Pat. He's working closely with his replacements, so that way he can eventually just pass on the baton and retire, right? As Matt Pat just did this last Saturday, he finally retired from his last channel. He is no longer an active host of any of the 5 channels of the game, of the Theorist conglomerates. For Beyonce, that's cool drawing. I don't really care, but cool, I guess. I think Scott's doing the same thing with Steel Wool. He feels like it's better to leave it in the hands of a large company than for him to continue to try and do it all himself. Which, I mean, it makes sense, but I think it's also going to... It's going to show a lot whether or not they're going to be able to keep up with the same kind of depth with the game. Because when a large company or a larger company, I mean, they're not huge. Steel Wool's not like a giant conglomerate, but they might become one if they end up owning all the rights to all the FNAF stuff. Let's be honest, FNAF is like a hugely profitable IP. So as of right now, they're not a huge company, but they are a big company compared to Scott by himself. So some things might get watered down, like horror wise, as we saw with Security Breach and stuff. Like some things might get watered down or changed or adjusted in the FNAF universe because it's easier to maintain in a company when you're working at it in that kind of angle or whatnot. So, but anyways, timeline wise, as you guys probably popped in here for, yeah. So Secret of the Mimic was the first, is going to be the earliest game in the timeline when it comes out. It's going to tell us the history of the Mimic and potentially the history of the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria and stuff. It's going to take place at a time when we should be before the first Freddy's and back in the Fredbear Family Diner era. So I'm predicting that we're probably at some point going to see both the Fredbear and the Spring Bonnie suits in use. I'm not sure. And I don't know what kind of feel it's going to be going into. I have a feeling, and it would be cool if it really did go in this way, kind of, if it started feeling a little Bioshocky, right? Where, like, you can see, like, you don't, like, the world isn't empty, necessarily, but, like, you seeing actual real-life living people is kind of rare, right? Like Security Breach kind of is in that manner. You don't really see human beings. Like there's only one that you could see, and that's Vanessa, and you usually saw her on the other side of a screen or in a camera view or something like that. You never really saw her face to face. I feel like it's going to be a very Bioshock feel with that kind of situation going on, where all of the human characters who add story elements aren't going to be like necessarily a recurring, easy to get to kind of situation. Bioshock 2 kind of played with it a little bit less. They had you were in the room with actual human beings more often, whereas Bioshock 1, you never truly, like, the only time that you ever were in the same room as an actual human being in that entire game was when you're fighting Ryan. Or not when you're fighting Ryan, but when you're killing Ryan, Andrew Ryan. And then another time, I guess Frank Fontaine can count as being fighting a human, but he was kind of really fucked up too, so he barely counted. He was more of a boss thing. So really just Andrew Ryan was the only human that you actually messed with in Bioshock 1. And then in Bioshock Infinite, completely different situation, right? Anyways, but that's beside the point. We're not going to worry about that too terribly much more. But now we move into the real games that we've actually played, and that is FNAF 4. Now, FNAF 4 is where we really get started on learning lore and stuff. It's still, to this day, one of the most ambiguous games of all of the games that Scott released. It had a lot of story in it that went unexplained. As there's a big exclamation point explained right here. My personal theory on FNAF 4, and that's going to be part of the timeline, is me explaining my own personal theories on this is, one, as we've pretty much learned from the mini games, the home that you live, what the hell is this? That's completely different. Yeah, anyways, I don't know what the hell this is. Anyways, we can pretty much say with certainty that the house that that the minigame character lives in is not the house that the gameplay takes place in. And we see that more with the sister location map, and we'll get into that when we get to the sister location map. But yeah, so the main takeaways from FNAF 4 is we learn who Michael Afton is. He's the older brother to this kid, Crying Child. Which the funny thing is when FNAF 4 came out, we didn't know the name of any of these characters still. This was still Purple Guy. These are unnamed employees, which still are. It's not the same house. The whole makeup of the house is completely wrong for it to be the same house. For one, there's no second door. There's no closet. There's no hallways leading to the front yard, to the front room in it. You can see it in here. See, this is all the house we really have. I mean, there's probably a kitchen and then like another bedroom this way. But from what we see is we see a little girl's room, we see a hallway, we see our bedroom, and then we see the living room. And it doesn't line up with the house that we see in the gameplay, but we do see the house that we have the gameplay for in a future game, which we'll get to later on down the road. FNAF 4 though covers the story of Crying Child, who plays at What Up Arcane? It's been a while, man. Who plays at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, right? He goes there every day, basically gets frightened because his dad owns the place. We do learn that this is probably this is Michael and William and all that. Where's Michael sleep? I want to see two beds. I think there's a door right here, which suggests that there's more to the house over this way. So his room and the kitchen and stuff's probably off of another hallway this way, along with their dad's room. So it probably expands more this way. It just wasn't important to the storyline, so we don't really get to see it much. Anyways, because I mean, your living room is usually not the farthest left room in your house. To be fair, it's not the farthest right or whatever. It's like your house doesn't just expand to one. Like, as you can see, there's no kitchen, no bathroom. There's a lot of rooms missing. So there's probably another wing this way that has all that stuff over here. Anyways, so FNAF 4, the mini games features Crying Child, as he's been dubbed, and we still don't unchange his name from Crying Child because I believe his name is Cassidy, while other people's would he have a lot of Foxy merch, or would it be an average teenage bedroom? It makes me curious. I imagine his room looking more like Sid's from Toy Story than anything else, but that's just my own personal opinion. Anyways, we got Crying Child. I call him either Dave or Cassidy. Well, people call him either Dave or Cassidy. I personally still enjoy Cassidy, but there's an argument for Dave. Not a good one in my opinion, but there's still one. The main things, the things that happen the most in this game, I like how we see this. We see Spring Lawn. Okay, oh, this is nice. I like this. Okay, anyways. The important things that happen in this game is, one, where's it at? He gets chomped right here. He gets carried over, and then, well, that's reversed from what it's supposed to be, I guess. Hold on. That didn't go well. Where is the actual chompity chomps? Oh, look, someone remade it in Minecraft. That's cool. There it is. No, I don't want to go. Damn, do we have a bite? Do we have a bite scene? There it is. We got a bite. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. You cannot. You cannot see that at all because I'm in the way. Let me just move me down here. That'll work better. So we get a chomp. Boom. Chompity chomp. That guy gets chomped. That's Cassidy or Dave. But there's another important thing to this game that I feel is important that other people feel less important. And it's this right here. What I suggest always and forever is actual Dave. First kill of the very first kill of William Afton, right? In the gold Freddy suit, right? And so he gets locked in there. There's your first kill, there's your first possession, there's your first everything. But here's the thing. Here's a new theory that I've been playing with, is that what if, just bear with me on this one, pun intended, what if Dave, Vengeful Spirit, the one you should not have killed, what if he didn't possess the suit? What if he possessed the boy? You know, he doesn't know how to do possession and stuff. He doesn't know how possession works, blah, blah, blah. What if his soul latched on to the other living thing, you know? Because my belief is that they possess, their spirits possess the endoskeletons, the closest thing to a living thing in their vicinity, right? They possess the endoskeletons, and then they take over the endoskeletons, and then it allows them to move. They take over something that has similar functionality to what they're used to when they were alive. So if they take over an endoskeleton, They know how arms move, legs move, eyes work, all that stuff. They know how all that works. So when they possess it, they're still able to use it in a similar fashion than they used their own body back in the day. Well, when Dave gets murked, what about Golden Freddy? Well, I'll get to that. Don't worry. But when Dave gets murked, he's in a Golden Freddy suit that's in suit mode. There's no endo to possess, right? He got spring locked, but I think once he got spring locked, William unspring locked him, right? So there wasn't a natural endoskeleton like there is in all the other animatronics. Remember spring lock suits are different. Now, an endo, would it be harder to control? They don't control him at all. So here's another thing that I think is a common misconception, or something that is not something that people took literally that I think was figuratively. And that is from FNAF 2, which is the next game we would go through to anyways. So let me get through this first, and then I'll explain that part here. But no, I think he dies in here, but when Cassidy comes into the room, I think he doesn't know what's going on. Obviously, he's a dead spirit who's kind of confused and stuff. I think he latches on to Cassidy, who, if I'm correct, and Dave, the first death, is Henry's son, they would have been friends. They would have at least been familiar with each other. So he sees this other person who he's familiar with, and he tries to latch onto them. And then by possessing him, or getting into trying to semi-possess him or whatnot, or latches onto him, he kind of gets a little bit more control of himself. What up, Michael Afton? Gets a little bit more control of himself and can kind of remember things and is able to talk to Cassidy in his mind and becomes Psychic Friend Fredbear. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who you gonna call? Psychic Friend Fredbear. But yeah, I think he gets a hold of himself and starts manifesting out in the world, in Cassidy's vision. He starts manifesting himself as Psychic Friend Fredbear, as someone that Cassidy would be willing to have a conversation with, a stuffed animal, right? And that's why we get lines from FNAF 4 mini games. Here we go. We can go in here. I'm gonna mute it because we really don't need that. But when we get lines hold on. Yeah, he locked you in your room again. Don't be scared. I am here with you. That's basic. And then he does the tomorrow is another day. Kind of be happy you're alive. Then we got this one. He is hiding again. He's already out in the world. He won't stop until you find him. Tomorrow is another day. And then this is the day. He left without you. He knows that you hate it here. You are right beside the exit. If you run, you can make it. He's I don't imagine it as I know a lot of people imagine it as this older man, or this male masculine spirit kind of voice. He knows you hate it here. Quick, you're by the exit. If you run, you can make it. Blah 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 blah. I think he's a child also talking to him. So he's he knows you hate it here. Quick, you're by the exit. If you run, you can make it. Another, his friend, a spirit child, which is creepy, obviously. Hurry, run towards the exit. And that's why it's no, don't you remember what you saw? The exit is the other way. Hurry and leave. No, don't you remember what you saw? The exit is the other way. Hurry and leave. No, don't you remember what you saw? Blah, blah, blah. And then he goes this way again. It's too late. Hurry the other way. You find someone who will help. You know what will happen if he catches you. Obviously, this is not an adult. A lot of people are oh, but it's William Afton through the doll talking to him. For one, where's the doll? First off, there's no doll anywhere. He's not carrying the doll. The doll's not in the picture at all, yet he's still being talked to in his mind. I think in Freddy's, there's too many other Golden Freddy stuff, Fredbear stuff around that that Dave is too worried or incapable or whatnot of being able to manifest himself in Cassidy's vision as the golden puppet at the time. I mean, as the golden plush at the time. So he's just purely talking to him in his head, and he's like, you remember what you saw. You know what will happen if he gets you. Because what Dave remembers, because he died, and then he comes back and he's confused, and then he possesses Cassidy, and the only thing that he witnesses once he's with Cassidy, able to more, like, more cognitively identify what's going on, is that he is dead inside of a gold Freddy suit, inside of a Fredbear suit. So in his mind, and in Cassidy's mind, he wasn't murdered by an adult. He was ate by an animatronic, right? Know what'll happen if he catches you. That's why you're willing to run away. Now you see the shadow stuff. Run again. This guy was really bad about doing this scene correctly. You need to run out the other way more than where you did. Like, you can find help if you can get past them. You have to be strong. He can't. Now you go back and you can see William Afton, purple guy, stuffing somebody else into a suit. Into a Bonnie suit. Runs back this way, can't make it. Go back this way, and then falls down underneath and starts to cry. Tomorrow is another day. Then we move on to 2 days. You get up, and this is when you get to start walking around. And then you can go talk to people. And as you can see, he's always manifesting himself as hiding. Right? He's always in every scene, but he's not near the boy or near the kids. He's always hiding. And sometimes he's not even an actual toy. Sometimes I'm doing this like you guys can see. Sometimes he's hiding as objects around too. So this is not the same color text either as the end text. So there's that. He's playing it. He's hiding in here, which he would never be able to get to on his own. This is Freddy Bully. Right? You go here. Here you don't see him at all because there's no reason for him to exist, hiding or otherwise. He is right here for this scene, barely hiding. All right. Then he's over here. This is the only time when he's in a spot. This is the only time he's in a spot where you can actually walk up to him. In the entire existence of the game, it's the only time you can really walk up to him. Once again, he becomes a flower to hide. This is the only time his eyes are out. Be careful. There's that. You can go into the girls' room. Well, that's not the only time. This is another time when you can walk right up to him, but you know what I mean. And then, boom. Tomorrow is another day. He always seems to know things that are happening that don't make sense why he knows that they're happening. He's always hiding but around. He's always talking to you in your mind, even though he's not near enough to you to really talk to you sometimes. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot that makes me believe that is just vengeful spirit. But I think this is before. Could he just be imagining it? In this franchise, you don't just imagine a possession. Plus, also no, because at the end of this, he makes it very clear that he is part of the like the spirits and stuff. And I'll give you what I think happens. What's going on? So we have this scene where, so this scene, if you pay attention to this scene is different than all the other scenes, and this is a scene that really brought it home for me in thinking that this is Dave and stuff, is the fact that this scene is lacking a very specific thing. No, but they are a different thing that I'll explain when we get to Sister Location. So this scene plays differently than all the other scenes, and there's a very specific thing that is missing in this scene that isn't missing in the other ones that makes me believe two things about it. One, if you pay attention, there is no psychic friend Fredbear speaking. There's no friend bear activity at all in this scene. Friend Bear doesn't exist yet to Cassidy. right? He's not in this scene at all. He's not talking to him. He's not telling him tomorrow will be another day or any of this stuff. This scene is purely just Cassidy is locked in a closet, alone, scared, probably creating agony. Does he think Dave is like an illusion or is actually a ghost? I'm not sure. I think he doesn't know what to think at first. I think the problem is, I think he knows that it's some kind of spirit because it's in his head. He's hearing it and he recognizes that other people don't hear it. But I think possession of another person isn't good for the person being possessed, right? Unlike obviously possession of an endo where there is no other conscious mind to disturb, I think I think the reason that Cassidy is going through such a mental breakdown during this week, why he's so afraid of everything and why he is so skittish and stuff, is that he's essentially developed dissociative identity disorder in a way, because he has two conscious minds in his one mind, right? He has two conscious beings both living inside of him at the same time. And even though one seems to not be taking much control or like using, like his motor functions and stuff, he's still hearing this voice in his head that only he can hear. And it's very hard for a person, for a mind to understand and parse, especially as a small child, the understanding that this mind that is this voice that's talking to you in your head isn't you, right? But it is real, and it's hard to disconnect that. So it would cause a mental collapse essentially, and I think that's why he's always crying, he's always upset, he's always kind of in this mental distraught, because he's constantly being taught. Like imagine having earbuds in, right? And there's just this voice in your head constantly telling you the dangers of the world. Not a voice in your head, but like a legitimate a legitimate earbud that is just somebody else talking in your head telling you, oh, you're going to get kidnapped, oh, you could get murdered, oh, this is going to happen, oh, here comes this scare, oh, here comes this bad thing and this bad thing and this bad thing. And that's essentially what's happening to him the whole time, is that the voice is like, without meaning to do it, Dave is basically constantly telling Cassidy what bad things are about to happen or could happen if things continued going the way that they're going. And so that'll break down anybody mentally. But anyways, if you watch this scene doesn't have Friend Bear in it. He's here in this suit still. He's still in the suit. He's a fresh kill. His soul, his spirit is still right here. And I think this is the scene of possession. Cassidy breaks down, starts crying, and he comes to his most fragile state. And in his most fragile state, Dave, I think, recognizes him, tries to comfort him, and in the process of attempting comfort, ends up committing possession instead. Without meaning to. Like, this is all without meaning to. Do you think he saw one of the murders? Who, Dave and Cassie? No. That's the thing, is Dave was so far before the other ones. I think Dave was an accidental murder. I think that William Afton killed him, but it was on accident, right? He didn't do it on purpose to like murder a child. I think it was like Dave came in and did, usual 7-year-old bullshit and was just annoying him, and William was in one of his I hate Henry and everything about him phases, because as the books have described, that's how he was, right? That a lot of time that's how he was. He was always jealous, and he was like, he was constantly in rages. He was always constantly jumping between rage of jealousy. What up, Afui Nikosi? He was always between this constant swap between jealousy, anger, and worship. Like, he'd either worship Henry for being such an amazing engineer, or he'd be jealous of him because William couldn't do the same things. And I have a theory on that, on why that happened, because it seems like this wasn't always the case, because they've been friends for a while, but all of a sudden in 1983 and stuff, he's slowly been becoming more and more of that. But anyways, we won't worry about that right now. But anyways, he accidentally murders Dave, but it unlocks something in his brain. Someone was trying to pull like a boogeyman thing where a parent is like, oh, if you don't sleep, the boogeyman will get you, but takes it too far. Or was he so angry he just grabbed the child? No, I don't think it's anything like that. I think he just tried to scare Dave with the suit. I think he was like, if you want to be in here, then be in here, kind of situation. Like, maybe he was like messing with the gold suit or like talking about it or something, and William put him in there like to scare him, and he didn't realize that Dave would wiggle so much or whatnot, and Dave ended up causing the suit to trigger and all of the spring locks to basically spring lock Dave, killing him in what would be one of the like most horrific ways to die. Being fully spring locked, right? And so he dies, and then soon after his death, while William is like trying to figure out what's going on, he hid the body in the parts room, like left it in there and whatnot. But Cassidy gets put in there by Mike and locked in there. Mike locks him in the parts room, and Cassidy discovers the body. But Cassidy is a small child, and he doesn't understand what he sees in the dark. So what he sees in the dark, he doesn't take it as, oh my God, here's a kid who's been murdered, or oh my God, this is Dave, my friend, who's been murdered by somebody. He goes, oh no, there's a dead kid inside of Fredbear. And he might have already been like a little spooked of the animatronics, and obviously it just kind of grew from this. But in his mind, as a small child who will... the thing seen in the dark by a child the thing seen in the dark is often misconstrued by a child, whatever, however it goes, right? He sees this and he thinks, oh, he was ate by Fredbear, but Fredbear's missing his head, so he thinks that Fredbear has a stomach mouth that eats children if they got caught alone with him in the dark or whatnot. And there is also this thing, I can't remember where exactly it was, but there was like this note about vengeful spirit is a child who is masked in darkness or whatnot. And I'm like, masked in darkness? Oh, you mean like the dark parts and service room where a child sits in a shadow in a fucking suit? Is that the kind of kid cast in shadow that you're talking about? Because this seems pretty much on fucking par for that. And I get heated when I talk about this because so many people in the theorist community want to ignore this. They want to ignore it. They want to be like, oh, that's just wires. Wires are black. They are not brown. There is no purpose in this being brown wires, right? Or they're like, oh, it's loose fabric in the suit. No, okay? These suits were pristine. These suits were being taken care of daily by Henry himself. He is an obsessive, compulsive inventor. This suit would never be ragged like that. He sees part of the suit getting frayed, and he's sewing that shit back together. He's fixing it. He's repairing it. This is not a workroom of somebody who doesn't take care of their shit. Okay? So saying, like, people being like, oh, it's loose flaps. No, this motherfucker would be pristine, okay? It would be clean. Everything would be repaired almost daily. Yeah, I always thought it was hair too. But there's so many, like, there's this, like, the majority of the community want to ignore it and say that it's not a body. And I know why they want to say this, because here's the thing. If this is a body, then I'm right. And the MCI in the games takes place in 1983. And people don't want to believe that. They want to believe. So we went from this weird thing back in 2015 where people insisted that the books weren't going to be part of the game continuity, and it can't be, and that the book shouldn't be used to figure out game lore or that it was wrong to use books for game lore, to nowadays, 10 years later almost, that now people believe that everything in the books must be connected to the games. And so there is this other character that must, like Andrew. Like, they want Andrew to exist in the games. And it's like, there is no proof of Andrew. All right, there's zero proof of Andrew being in the games whatsoever. There's zero proof that there is an Andrew equivalent, right? The Andrew equivalent is this motherfucker right here named Dave, who's in the suit, and who I think is Henry's son, right? If you want to connect things from the games, how about the fact in the games for the entire first book, Charlie believes that her twin brother was kidnapped and then murdered by none other than William fucking Afton. He wasn't in the books. He's not in the books. Him and his mom leave Henry after Charlie is kidnapped and then dies dies while in the hands of William Afton. Yeah, that's the way to do it, Arcane. Is that this is the way I say it. When you're trying to solve game continuity, you need to find the facts in the game and the supporting evidence in the books, not the other way around. Right? You need to find proof in the games and then use information from the books to solidify your argument, which is what I do with this. If this is Dave, and Dave is Henry's son, and Henry's son is the twin brother of Charlie, then the books give us corroborating evidence that it could be true in the games. We know that in the books and in the games, things are not exactly the same, but they're very similar. So in the books, Dave, who is Sammy in the books, but Charlie's twin brother doesn't actually get kidnapped and then die by William. He moves away with her mom. She's the one who gets kidnapped and then dies by William's hand in the books. But in the games, I think William accidentally kills Dave and then covers it up to make it look like a kidnapping. So that way, now it's Dave does actually get kidnapped and then dies by William's hands, like we thought he was in the first book. When was the first book being wrote? Coincidentally, the same time that FNAF 4 was being made. So that storyline being parallel like that makes a lot of sense. How old is William? Fucking 5 billion for all we fucking know. Old enough to run a business in 1979. So I would say in his 30s. In 1983, I think he's in his 30s. But anyways, so Dave happens. He then possesses Cassidy. Cassidy then gets bit by Fredbear. I think when he gets bit by Fredbear, he ends up in a coma, and William is emotionally distraught in a way that he's never been before. And this is a common. I mean, this is a thing that can happen, especially with serial killers and stuff. The way that he manages his emotional, like, depression or whatnot is he kills more kids. You know, he causes equivalent harm to other people so that he is not the only person existing with that pain, right? He's like a bully. I mean, he's just like a bully. A bully is, a lot of times, the reason that a bully bullies is because they themselves are being either abused or they are in like emotional turmoil, and they want other people to feel the same way that they feel. So they bring other people down to their level. A serial killer will do that on the worst level ever. Which is, so for this, it would be, I'm missing a kid, or my kid is dying, so I'm going to kill other people's children, you know, to rectify that, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, I think he murders to, like, try and repair his, like, he learned, like, the thing is I don't think William knew that animatronics can be possessed by spirits and come back to life and all that. I don't think it's like, what the hell did my hair do when I was... Okay. Anyways, I don't think it works like that. I don't think he knows that it works like that anyways. So I don't think he knows that, like Dave is alive now in his son or in Golden Freddy, which is what happens later. I think what happens is when he gets bit by Freddy, which we can watch that bit here in a second, when he gets bit by Freddy, one thing that we know for sure, here we go, right here. So one thing we know for sure is that when the worst things in your life happens to you, you can create agony, right? And he was already freaking out. He was in like a panic attack. Things were happening to him, blah 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 blah. And then he gets bit. The worst thing possible happens to him, but he doesn't die. I think he fills the head of the Fredbear suit with agony from him dying, him being bit, not fully dying, but being bit. I think that he fills the suit head with agony, and later on when he finally does die, it works as like a beacon bringing his soul back to where he was, where he was damaged, where he was initially broken. He goes back there, and by the time he gets back there, he has a building full of friends to spend their bleak, dark, eternal nightmare together. I think when he dies, or when he goes into a coma, he's no longer possessible, right? For the most part, he's no longer possessible. So, yeah, right? Exactly. That's the point of this whole franchise. But he's no longer possessible by Dave because he's broken. He's incapable of being possessed anymore. So Dave's spirit leaves him and goes back to the pizzeria where he knows he's like where his body should be. Because the one thing that we learn in the books and stuff, that in this universe, that a spirit wanders where it thinks its body is, right? The last actual memory that Cassidy has is this one of being bit in the head. The last place that he remembers his body being is here at the pizzeria. Just like Dave. Dave remembers the last place that his body is in the back room of the pizzeria. So they both, at different times, head back to the pizzeria as spirits to find their bodies. Because that's what we do learn in the books and stuff, is that a dead spirit, will search for its body. And it will have half memories and stuff until it finds its body. It will live in this daze where it doesn't fully remember its life until it can find its own body. And until that point, it'll live in these half memories where it can't fully remember everything, and it's only kind of remembering stuff, and it's having a lot of difficulties getting back to the point of remembering things. So, fun times, obviously, are to be had. So what I think happens, though, is I think while he's in a coma and he's not able to do anything, I think Dave goes back to the pizzeria, and while he's there, William also, to tend to his emotional turmoil about Golden Freddy specific. What up? I think while he's tending, I think in order to tend to his mental and emotional suffering, again, William turns into a bully, essentially, and a serial killer bully. He devises a way to get the same kind of relief that he got when he killed Dave on accident. Like, after the panic set down and he devised a way to dispose of Dave's body and figured out a story to cover up the kill, I think he felt adrenaline. I think he felt a rush. I think he felt accomplished, almost. Like, he felt like, oh, this is something that I'm good at. He figured out how to kill a child, cover it up, dispose of the body, and get people to think that somebody else did it. So now he wants to do it again. So he devises a plan. He wears the golden suit so no one knows it's actually him. He targets children that are easily swayed into coming with him. That's what we see with Susie in Fruity Maze. That's what we see with Fritz in Midnight Motorist. That's what we see in the news clippings with Gabriel and Jeremy. He uses the friends together. The "it's me" hallucination, would we assume he like remembers Michael completely, or since they're like half memories, would he recognize Michael's face but not his name? Because this half memory thing is interesting. So the thing about that is that we've actually debunked the "it's me" as being in every. It's a catch-all. It's a catch-all. So the animatronics, they can't speak technically, right? The spirits can't speak directly to humans in like they can't make voice, right? But they can use the animatronics in the ways that they exist. And we learn in the week before that all of the animatronics, the new animatronics, the Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy, all come with a pre-programmed voice, speech lines, and one of the most common ones is "it's me, Freddy," "it's me, Chica," "it's me, Foxy," "it's me, Bonnie." The golden suits would have been similar. They had a "it's me, Fredbear," and "it's me, Spring Bonnie," whatever. So what the "it's me's" is not a golden Freddy specific. We actually, not me, but early theorists when the game first came out fucked up. They fucked up hard because they did take the "it's me" as being a golden Freddy specific thing, but you can actually get "it's me" to pop up in the game without golden Freddy being involved whatsoever. It's a recurring thing that can happen with Freddy, it can happen with Chica, Bonnie, and everybody, because it's actually a vocal thing that their animatronic is capable of doing, and the spirits are able to cut off the name portion of it. They don't want to be recognized as being Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, and Foxy, but they do want people to recognize them as being "it's me." So they use that voice line, but they use it in a way to let you know that there's a spirit inside. And I think that also is a way for Scott to kind of tell us that the animatronics that we see in FNAF 2 are not haunted, that they are not possessed by a spirit within, because they do not go through the phase of saying "it's me." They just function as they're supposed to. They see the body, they see the security guard, and the night security guard, the workers there wouldn't see it because either maybe Michael has a beard and William doesn't, or maybe Michael wears glasses and William doesn't. Whatever the case may be, William and Michael, on a normal, it's a Superman situation, they look a lot alike, but not enough that you would say, hey, you're like the direct twin of this person. But facial recognition software, on the other hand, would recognize you as the other person if you both looked a lot alike, especially at base level, minus the beard, minus the glasses, minus the haircuts, whatever. They would see your face, and they would see the face of William Afton, and be like, this is the same person. Function as they are supposed to. Oh, yes, Mangle, broken appearances. Well, actually, Mangle is normal. That actually is explained. Mangle is normal. Mangle is a take apart, put back together animatronic for toddlers. He functions the way he's supposed to, or the way that they are supposed to, because they are supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be disconnected, reconnected situation. So yeah, Mangle is functioning exactly the way Mangle is supposed to function. They all are. That's the terrifying part, is that all the toys are functioning correctly. They recognize Michael Afton, the security guard the person who we think is pretending to be Jeremy Fitzgerald or whoever it is as the security guard in FNAF 2. We believe it's actually Michael Afton for the majority of the nights. So they are functioning correctly because their facial recognition software is recognizing him as being the person. But I always assume they were somewhat broken since radio. No. I think he just doesn't have voice. I think they never had voice lines. So they don't have a programmed voice line. So when they go to speak, it's just static because that's all that's been recorded for them, right? Or it could just be something as simple as the functionability to record a voice or whatever in it is part of the take apart, put back together, and maybe one of the toddlers held down the record button, but no one spoke at the time, so all it recorded was air noises, right? So that's why you get radio static or whatever, because there was nothing to record at the time. So it just got a blank recording. Or it got erased by them while they were fucking with. There's multiple reasons to explain why it comes out the way that it does, right? But yeah, you get fired in FNAF 2 and in FNAF 1 for odor and messing with the animatronics. So anyways, back to what I was talking about with this, because I need to... Actually, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, and then I'll come right back. It'll take me like 2 minutes. Give me a sec. Oh, I don't have a BRB screen anymore? Okay, I do. What's happening? Huh. Anyways, I'll be right back. Give me a sec. Oh, I'm back. What? Oh. There we go. Okay. God, my Stream Deck is acting stupid or something. I don't know. Anyways, so we're on to the part where William murders some children, right? Okay. So, yeah, so continuing on with the history, the timeline, as you will, after that, like, branching off that we did. I'm trying to keep this very coherent, so if Dabs feels like she wants to animate all of this, which I highly doubt it, because, oh my god, it would suck. But if she wanted to do that, it would be possible. Anyways, so now we have Cassidy in a coma in the hospital, right? And we have William, who is trying to deal with his emotional distress, and he's doing the classic thing where he wants to bring other people down to his level to feel better. That's how he functions. He's a bully, essentially. So, murdering children. He's already done it once. He knows that he can get away with it, and he devises a strategy to do it. And I've talked about this a little bit already just a few minutes ago, but he dons a Bonnie suit so that he obviously fits in. He's someone that the kids want to hang out with. He looks for specific targets. Susie in Fruity Maze. Her dog died recently. He takes advantage of her depression and tries to feed into that in a way of like, oh, I have your dog. He's in the back. Come check him out. And so she follows him, and then, all alone with William Afton, you die. Fritz, I believe, is Midnight Motorist. I believe that it shows that Fritz's dad was an abusive alcoholic. I believe that it shows that Fritz used to escape to Freddy Fazbear's to get away from his abusive family and like try to have a sense of security and a sense of fun or whatnot. Because Freddy Fazbear's, to me, so far, what I've seen in the games and stuff, seems like it's free to get in, and all of their money is made off of selling food and selling like tickets and stuff to the, selling tokens to the games and stuff, but admission itself is free, right? Is what it feels like anyways. So Fritz, Midnight Motors shows that Fritz has an abusive alcoholic drunk father who drives to the house, beats the crap out of Fritz on a regular basis. Fritz escapes from the house and runs away to Freddy Fazbear's all the time to just like try and have a normal day or whatnot and to get away from his family for as much time as he can. And that's why William eventually one day goes to his house, breaks him out of his room, convinces him to come back to Freddy's with him, and then ends up in the back room murdered. Jeremy and Gabriel are in the news articles, and we know that they're best friends. We know that they came into the back together, and that would be a way to lure kids to their death also, is use the fact that they are together. There's two of them. He got Susie, he got Fritz. He was starting to feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more, unbreakable, like invincible kind of. So he decides to up the ante. It's easier for me to get kids into the back if I do two at a time or more because they're friends. They feel braver together. They're more willing to do things if they're doing it together. Especially something like that. If you and your buddy are together and they're like, hey, you want to go into the back? You're going to be like, you're going to do it, so yeah, I got to do it too. Bro code kind of situation. You're going to do it, I'm going to do it too. And so they go to the back together with this grown adult who then murders them, right? Now, the thing that I think is off a little bit is the stuffing of the bodies in the suits. It's a common misconception. A lot of people think that they get stuffed in the suits and stay permanently in the suits and then, rot to death. Not happening. Watching TV be his mom. Yeah. That would definitely be his mom. That's the thing. That's his mom. 100% mom. A common abusive house, scenario. He comes home, mom says, leave the boy alone. He's just in his room doing nothing. Don't bother him. And abusive dad goes, no, fuck this. I've had a bad day. I'm going to, someone's got to take it. So, fair enough. Right? Okay, I think I got this pain in my... Yeah, exactly. Well, it might be wrong. It might be right. Gotta remember, Soda, I am not the definitive answer on the timeline. This is my personal headcanon timeline. All of this that we're talking about, 1983, right? Cassidy's in a coma for a few months. During those few months that he's in a coma, the kids die by the hands of William Afton, right? Now, part of this that I didn't talk about yet is the fact that I think it's a month or so after Cassidy has been put into a coma that William starts murdering the kids, because immediately after him getting bit, we learn a few things in FNAF 3, and we got to move to FNAF 3 right now in order to answer FNAF 4. Well, that's the thing. We have confirmations that people forget about. So for one, we have confirmation. There's a pretty good confirmation in FNAF 3 that FNAF 4 is a Freddy Fazbear's and is probably where the original murders happen, right? There's some evidence in FNAF 3 that really make this likely, and that is the tapes from Phone Guy that we get in FNAF 3 that we get to listen to. He says in the FNAF 3 phone tapes, welcome to your new job as a entertainer, not a family diner. Yes, a new, here, we'll pull it up right now. FNAF 3 Phone Guy. FNAF 3 Phone Guy calls. Check this out. So we go all phone calls. There we go. Okay. Oh, wait, back here. We go all the way back here. Tell you about what's new. We found another set. Oh, hold on.
But lead right now, some guy who
Okay, so we're past this, past this. Here we go. So check this out.
Welcome to your new career as a performer slash entertainer for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. These tapes will provide you with much needed information on how to handle slash climb into slash climb out of mascot costumes. Right now we have two specially designed suits that double as both animatronic and suit.
We have two specially designed suits that double as both animatronics and suits. What is the suits that we know of for a fact are a suit that doubles as both a suit and an animatronic? Right? But there's two suits that we know of for a fact that do this. Those two suits are Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. And at the beginning, the Mimic costume. No. The Springlock costumes. Get your head right, Arcane. So we know two things from this phone call right here. One, this is a Freddy Fazbear's, not a Fredbear's Pizzeria, not Fredbear's Family Diner. And two, this Freddy Fazbear's, but weren't they the ones in the diner? We in the books, yes. In the games, we actually don't know. Like, we actually don't know for a fact whether or not the suits are in Fredbear's Family Diner in the game. We'll find out, I think, in Secret of the Mimic, but there's actually no real evidence in the games to suggest this. What is in the games is this phone call right here, where we get job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, two Springlock suits, and that's all they have. We have two specially designed suits that double as both animatronics and suits. We know that those are our Springlock suits, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. What up, Flop? We know this to be true. We know these facts to be self-evident. That in the FNAF 4 game, we have been playing in a Freddy Fazbear's the entire time. I have a question about the early bit of the timing. Go for it. We can rewind back to early bits of the timeline. Absolutely. So yeah. So we know for certain that these are Springlock suits, and that these tapes are being recorded very close to each other. Bonnie's suit ever used in a Fazbear location? Yeah, Freddy Fazbear's in FNAF 4. Soda, we just went over this. This phone call right here lets us know that FNAF 4, this scene right here, all these scenes right here, this is a Freddy Fazbear's, not a Fredbear's Family Diner. We knew in FNAF 3 that FNAF 4 was actually a Freddy Fazbear's. People fucked up and just assumed that it was a Fredbear's Family Diner because it was earlier in the timeline. At Fall Fest, where Mimic is said to have originated from, at least in game lore, possibly. It's really confusing. The game lore is really confusing. We know from FNAF 5, from Sister Location, and from both Elizabeth speaking, Afton speaking, and Michael speaking, that they're British. But we seem to keep going back in the timeline with William Afton living in America. So we have to wonder, is William Afton actually first generation American? And he just happens to still have a British accent and passed it on to his children? Well, no, Fall Fest is 19... There's actually Fall Fest 1980. There's Fall Fest 83 also. Or 79. No, 83. Hold on. Yeah, there's a Fall Fest 83. Fall Fest 1983. Yeah. Yeah. You know, there was rumors of animatronics coming to life at night, and if you die, they hide your body and never tell anyone. Yeah. Because this is from one of the suits. called the Fall Fest of '83. Of course, last year was called the Fall Fest of '82, and the one before that was Fall Fest of '81. Essentially, every year, the week before Halloween, people would decorate their house, screaming, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So, and these are from the Frights, from the the Fazbear Frights books. But yes, off to bed night. All right, Chaos, have a good night, man. Have a good night. Tell Dabs night. Thank her for editing all the crap that she edits, all the garbage that I create. Why would the children have British accents if they grew up in the States? Your parents being British can make your accent be British. Remember, your accent's usually going to come from whoever you learn to speak from. So, yeah, they can grow up in America and they can go to American schools, but if their parents, the main people that they are learning to speak English from, is British, they're going to have a British accent. Okay, well, there's actually been proof of American children developing a British accent because their parents let them watch nothing but Peppa Pig for like their first 3 years of development. And so Peppa Pig was the main thing that they were learning to speak from, and so they ended up developing a semi-British accent because of the fact that they just watched a lot of Peppa Pig. Like, that's a real thing that can actually happen. It's the same thing with Bluey now. Like, you have to be aware of that. Dad had a German accent, I could get a German accent. Or if my mom had an Irish accent, I could get an Irish accent. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Why do you think, you think about it, you have first and second generation Latinos that live in America who still have a Latino accent, even though they've never lived in a Latino country in their life. They grew up in a house full of Latino people speaking with Latino accents or Spanish, so they learned English, but developed a Latino accent because of it. You know, that's just how life is. Like, you develop an accent based on who you're listening to when you are developing your own accent. So from the ages of like 2 to like 10, you're gonna learn like a lot. I feel like a lot of the Latinos put on that accent, not gonna lie. That's a mildly racist thing to say. Not gonna lie. No, a lot of Latinos, like, no, it's actually the other way around. When they start talking with less of a Latino accent, that's usually them putting it on to normalize themselves in society. It's like me. I actually have a lot thicker of a Southern accent than you will hear from me because when I moved out of the South, I purposely developed a more neutral American accent than what I actually have. It's a little bit different now also because I have no teeth, but no, you tend to a lot, especially if you're a performer or you're someone who deals in performances and stuff, you tend to neutralize your accent as much as possible so that way you can perform for a larger group of people without it being like hard to understand you or whatnot. So that's a common thing that can actually happen. But anyways, yeah. So welcome back, Cherry. So technically, yeah, him and his kids being British could still be like his parents could be could be last generation immigrants, and William Afton himself could be first generation American, but he developed a thick. Not thick, but he developed a British accent because of his parents, and then him teaching his children to speak, they end up developing a British accent also. Is possible. Is it true? I don't know. But it does seem like we continuously push the years back that William Afton exists in America, in Utah of all places. And if William's wife is also British for some reason, like maybe multiple British families moved to Utah at the same time and like, you know, as like a way of being able to like support each other in this new endeavor of being in a new country, then that would make sense on why he might have ended up with a British wife and stuff. So he must be so old by the time Fnaf 3 comes around. He's dead by the time Fnaf 3 comes around. His age no longer matters. He's a self-possessing spirit. Do you think his wife was American, or would he have met Mrs. Afton like maybe who knows? That's the thing. It's more likely that his wife is also British because of how thick of a British accent Elizabeth had when she was growing up. Now, I will say this though, because she speaks with baby when she speaks through Baby, she doesn't have an accent anymore. It's only in the memories of her as an actual child that she is British. So that actually shows us something else. No, we've never seen the wife. We've never heard of the wife. The wife does not exist in the games, as far as we can tell. We know that there is a Mrs. Afton, but that's it, because he has 3 children, which means he had to have had a long-term relationship with this woman to obviously birth 3 children from her. But we never meet her in the games. But we do learn something very interesting with Elizabeth, and that is that they do not, their accent does not spread to the animatronic that they are controlling. So because Baby has like full speech function, she's able to use Baby fully to speak. And so she doesn't have, she has Circus Baby's accent, not her own. Which is interesting to think about, really, in a weird way. It's like, okay, this is somebody else's vocal box, I guess. So technically, my accent wouldn't exist. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. So we learned in FNAF 3 through the phone calls that FNAF 3 told us before we even got to play FNAF 4 that FNAF 4 was taking place in a Freddy Fazbear's, not in a Fredbear's Family Diner. Right, so we know this. So we know these facts to be self-evident that we are taking place in a Freddy Fazbear's, not in a Fredbear's Fredbear's Family Diner. We also learn in the FNAF 3 tapes, which must have been around the same time as that first tape. The other tapes must have been made because it's the same guy, and he's talking to you as if he's continuing a conversation with the same person. This game is the whole universe is so confusing, right? But in the FNAF 3 tapes, he also talks about a multiple simultaneous spring lock malfunction. We can get to the let's just go to the tape. Yeah. So let's just jump. We're gonna jump. Yeah, that's we got all this stuff. Yeah, this is the go to the safe room, don't die, blah blah blah. Night 4. So this is night 4, and this is like 2 days later.
After learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures, the company has deemed the suit temporarily unfit for employees. Safety is top priority at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which is why the classic suits are being retired to an appropriate location while being looked at by our technicians.
So, hey, I was just watching that. Oh, the FNAF 3. Oh, yeah, because you're editing for the short. So what this is telling us, and this is the actual crazy question. This is the question is, and Dabs, I feel bad because I don't know what I'm doing now. Because I just remembered that it says sister location for that. Oh wait, no. We're good. We're still good. We're absolutely golden. Literally. We're still golden. So at a sister location, so these gold suits were at multiple Freddy Fazbear pizzerias. I was 1 minute behind. Well, I'm gonna press the red dot. Oh, dang, Arcane, that's bad. That's not good. That explains why you've been asking questions I am already answering. Anyways, so essentially, this actually makes a lot of sense in a way. Yeah. I wonder, I'm trying to figure out when these tapes were recorded, because they're recorded out of line. I think this tape is recorded in 1983. The real question is whether, what's happening? Hold on. We're good, right? Okay, yeah, we don't have any issues going on, right? Yes. Okay, we're good. Okay. Anyways, so we good. Yeah, first, like, I saw a spinning circle on one of my screens, and I was worried for a split second. So I think that I think he's at the FNAF 2 location when this is happening. And I think the FNAF 2 location gets I think the FNAF 2 location gets shut down at some point and then it gets reopened because it is the grand reopening of the FNAF 2 location. I don't think it's the grand opening, right? I think it's the grand. I mean, it does say grand reopening. So when we go to the FNAF 2, which is the next location we need to talk about, anyways, but FNAF 2 news clippings. Yeah, grand reopening. Vintage pizzeria given new life. Come be a part of the new face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. What could go wrong? I love that part. What could go wrong? But yeah, so it's reopening. So I think the FNAF 4 location and the FNAF 2 location were open at the same time. But I think the FNAF 2 location closed down or got refurbished is what it is. Like we believe, like we were running off of this belief that FNAF 2 is new. That we are at a brand new location. But I don't think that's the case. I think the FNAF 4 location and the FNAF 2 location are running almost simultaneous to each other. No. I don't think we're scrapping the short. No. Never. We'll put it out there anyways. You know, who cares? People will watch it. They'll get interested. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That doesn't matter. You know, I like putting it out there because there's parts of it that you can grab that would make sense. Oh my god. Oh, you're already okay, let's watch it, guys. Hold on. Let's see how good this short is. And you guys tell me if there's anything wrong with it too. This will be a live preview of the FNAF 2 not the FNAF 2 of the short that Dabs has made. And she hates every second of this. I know she does. The Bite of 83 is one of the most iconic moments in FNAF history. Where did you go? But did you know that it also takes place in a Freddy's and is the reason that Fredbear and Spring Bonnie are no longer being used when the FNAF 2 location opens in 87? FNAF 3 Old Phone Guy Recordings greets the listener to their new job at Freddy's and that they have 2 yellow Springlock suits in use. FNAF 4 is a pizzeria with only Fredbear and Spring Bonnie performing, making this the likely location. Another recording tells us of a springlock malfunction that leads to the suit's removal. That springlock malfunction is the Bite of 83. When Crying Child is bit by Fredbear, the company takes action to make sure it doesn't lose business. They remove the springlock suits and replace them with, at first, random outfits, and then the new animatronics that we see in FNAF 1. A company making rapid changes to reassure the public that nothing bad will happen to their children is a standard business practice. So now you know that Spring Bonnie and Fredbear being discontinued is all. I gotta watch this a second time because I missed the beginning of it. One of the most iconic moments in FNAF history. But did you know that it also takes place in a Freddy's and is the reason that Fredbear and Spring Bonnie are no longer being used when the FNAF 2 location opens in 87? FNAF 3 Old Phone Guy Recordings greets the listener to their new job at Freddy's and that they have 2 yellow springlock suits in use. FNAF 4 is a pizzeria with only Fredbear and Spring Bonnie performing, making this the likely location. Another recording tells us that... No, this is great. Yeah, just after learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous springlock failures, the company has seen systems temporarily unfit for employees. Malfunction that leads to the suit's removal. No, this is great. The springlock malfunction is the Bite of 83. When Crying Child is bit by Fredbear, the company takes action to make sure it doesn't lose business. I love that. Suits and replace them with Business Strider, and then the new animatronics that we see in FNAF 1. A company making rapid changes to reassure the public that nothing bad will happen to their children is a standard business practice. So now you know that Spring Bonnie and Fredbear being discontinued is all because of the Bite of 80. I love it. That is so good. Okay, that's gonna full release, guys, at the end of the stream. So make sure you guys go watch it, like it, do all the stuff for it, share it, spread it around, comment on it, whatever you want. Because no, that short is amazing. How did I get these wrapped around each other? I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, no. That, oh my god, Army of Strider Man Lawyers is peak. It is. It's absolute. That, Debs, your editing has gotten insanely good. Oh my god, that was so good. The swapping around, the pulling them out, but leaving like their little outlines is amazing. Absolutely insanity. I don't even remember when I sent you that. When did I send you that? Hold on. Let's see this. When did I send you this? I sent you that on the not even a week ago, and you pulled that out. That is insane. And it's not like you're sitting at home just editing all the time because you have a child and, you know, like real life responsibilities. Whoo, buddy, I don't see. This is why I can't ever go back to being an editor for my own videos, because I can't now. It's official. I think the editing alone should make that short go mega viral, right? That should be the best short ever. But anyways, no. So it says sister location, which is fine. All that means is that there's obviously multiple locations where these suits were being used, and phone guy is clearly at a different one recording for it or something like that. The editing is peak. It really is. So what we learn here though is that, you know, multiple spring lock. You guys just watched a short on it, so we're gonna skip that part. You know, bam, bite of 83 causes the suits to get removed. And in the process, new suits come in for a little bit. Those suits don't make any sense. They're probably the leftover suits from Fall Fest or something, where Freddy and Freddy and the gang existed already, and they were turned into animatronics and put into the restaurants. So more likely what happened is they were already probably planning on shifting from the two gold suits, or probably keeping the two gold suits but adding in Freddy and friends like they have in the show. And the bite happened, so they had to rapid fire it. And so since they didn't have the regular animatronics ready yet, they went to like these weird suits that they could wear for a couple of, for like a week or two while the new animatronics got fully completed. They get put in, and then once they get put in, sometime around that point is when William himself devises the plan of using the gold suit, because now he knows if he uses the Fredbear suits and the gold Bonnie suits, that he can kill indiscriminately, hide the bodies in those suits, because those suits shouldn't be getting used anymore. So now he has a hiding place. He has a way to attract the children, because he has a suit that no one else is going to use. So if he gets the suit dirty or leaves evidence in the suit, no one's going to find it. All this kind of stuff. He has everything set up perfectly for him to start killing. So about a month after Cassidy goes into a coma, Cassidy's in a coma still. William has this perfect setup. He has an alibi. His son's in a coma. Whenever he's done at work, he goes and sees his son in a coma at the hospital. It's the 80s. They're not keeping like super good track of the coming and goings of random parents of Coma Boy down in 1856 or in room 1870 or whatever the fuck it is, right? So he's got his alibi. He's got his way of doing it without being recognized by using the gold suit that no one's supposed to be using. And even if associates are like, hey, you're not supposed to be using that suit, he's an owner. Shut up. I own you. I'm your boss. Leave me alone, right? Boom. So he's got a suit that he can use that no one else is going to use, and he's got an alibi, and he's got a way to get out of it. He picks his victims. He commits 4 murders. They start looking into it, and since it's in the same year as Dave going missing and then dying, the cops probably did the very reasonable thing and probably lumped all of the murders together, because again, it's the 80s. They're a little lazy. So it's the 80s. They go, okay, so this kid went missing and is presumed dead, and these 4 kids have gone missing and are presumed dead, and now we have surveillance evidence that these kids were lured into the back by someone in a golden suit and then presumably kidnapped or murdered. That the 5th kid that we have no evidence on, probably same thing happened to him. So now we have 5 kids missing, and I bet William didn't know that Henry installed security cameras, right? But he was in the suit, so he doesn't get caught. Now they go and investigate. The golden suits have been discontinued from being used in the restaurant. So there's only 2 people in the restaurant who still have access to those suits to use them even when they're not supposed to be used. William and Henry. William has an alibi. He's going and visiting his son every night, who is in a coma. Henry, on the other hand, is a neurotic workaholic who probably stays late, probably gets there early, constantly working on animatronics, constantly, just being gone. Henry must have been hella suspicious. He was hella suspicious. He got arrested for it. They literally sent him to prison. He literally became suspect number one, was arrested, tried, and he was tried and convicted for these missing children. The good news is he only got 5 counts of intentional kidnapping, I guess is what you'd call it, or children abduction. Yeah, child abduction. He didn't get 5 counts of murder because the kids weren't dead. They were just missing. So he goes to jail. William becomes full owner and CEO of the company without Henry around. He gains full ownership and everything. And he gets away with it. It'd be about 70 years of prison time, roughly. I don't know the exact specifics, but it'd be like 70 years of prison time. Anyways, so now after that's happened, William obviously realizes I can never do this again. Right? I can never do this again in this suit. I got away with it. I can never use the suit again. So he doesn't. Suit's gone, out of action. He's got to think of a new way to be able to murder children if he wants to continue murdering children. He stuffed them in suits. Did he stuff them in the animatronics or did he stuff them in the Gold Freddy suits? My personal opinion, I think he used the defunct Freddy suits to store their bodies in and then dispose of them soon after. And I think that's a common misconception. A lot of people think that these bodies were stuffed inside these suits and left to rot in the suits, because it does say in the news articles and stuff that the suits were oozing blood and pus and stuff from the eyes and the mouth and things like that, and they were smelling really bad. I don't think that was literally a body inside, melting away, essentially. No way. What that is the spirits who possess the animatronics basically making that like the haunting kind of situation. It would be an element of being possessed by the children. They're trying to be terrifying animatronics. That's kind of like they can do that kind of thing. How do you explain the blood? Like what I just said. That's part of their spirit powers. They're able to make that seem like it's, they're able to create that thing. Because let's be honest, there's no way that you stuff a full child into an animatronic and it hides in there and nobody finds it. You think the engineers aren't taking off these suits, that they're not fiddling with the endoskeletons? They have to fix it. Ralph himself proves without a doubt that there's no way that this, like the week before, proves that the bodies were definitely not actually left in those animatronics to rot. Because when Bonnie is barely malfunctioning, he spends the night fixing Bonnie, taking his head completely off, fixing it, putting it back on, and like reattaching it correctly. He has to fix everything. Everything has to be in proper order for the next day. There is no way that a dead body sat inside of a Fredbear. Like, check this out. How long, I'm going to get on a watch list right now, but how long does a corpse take to decompose? A corpse can take anywhere from weeks to years to decompose, depending on the environment and other factors. Weeks to years. If insects can be excluded, a body will decompose quite slowly because maggots are the most voracious flesh feeders. Although an exposed human body in optimum conditions can be reduced to bones in 10 days. Optimum. There is no way that a week and a half at the least and years at the highest end go by without someone popping open these animatronics and looking at their endos and looking at the inside of their suits. There's no way. reasonably speaking, no way. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Especially since some of these kids died before Henry got arrested. And Henry, we know, was very particular about his animatronics and was working on them regularly. He was working on them regularly. But here's the kicker. I personally do not believe that the spirits were actually possessing the endos before Charlie died. I think Charlie is the one who as we see in the mini game, give life. She's the one that teaches them possession. I think is what it actually is. I think that's what it's trying to tell you. So we can look that one up too. FNAF, give life. I don't like that. But anyway, so we see in this minigame, boom, you go around to these 4 dead children. She gives them all a gift. They can't take it. They don't, and nothing happens. They don't change. Right? Boom, boom, boom. All 4 of them. Gift. Nothing happens. Right? So you go around again. You teach Susie how to possess Chica. You teach Gabriel how to possess Freddy. You teach Fritz how to possess Foxy. And then you teach Jeremy how to become Bonnie. And now they all know how to be. And yes. If you go back and freeze frame it just in time, didn't. Well, if you go. You missed it, but yeah, it's in there. So learn how to. Sure. No, that's a different. That's a different Bonnie. That's Shadow Bonnie. That's different. But anyways, so what you do learn, but what we do learn in this case, is that they are all taught how to possess the animatronics by Charlie. Charlie dies last. So they're just spirits floating around in this place, not possessing anything yet until after Charlie dies. Charlie dies somewhere within like a month after Henry gets convicted, because Cassidy dies. Cassidy, aka Crying Child, he's been in a coma this whole time, right? And I think he was friends with, I think he was in a friend group or something. I think that him, Jeremy, Gabriel, Susie, and Fritz would have all been kind of like friendly. Hit the deathbed. Yeah, we're all kind of friendly with each other. And Dave and Charlie. I think they're all kids of the same relative age hanging out at the same location. So they all would have been friends, right? They would have all been friends, essentially. Which also would have made it easier for William to pick these children specifically, because he would have had a semi-personal relationship with all of them. He would have known about Fritz's home situation. He would have known about Jeremy and Gabriel's attached at the hip. They don't fear anything when they're together situation. He would have known that Susie had a dog, and when Susie's dog got hit, he would have known that would have been the optimal time to start his killing spree. He could have even been the one who hit her dog, right? Who knows? Or it was Fritz's dad. No, that's not the point. The point is all these kids were around the same age, hanging out at the same place. They all knew each other. They were all friends. And now they all became animatronic spirits. And Golden Freddy. Cassidy shows up after dying. He shows up at the pizzeria and meets all of his friends. We're still your friends. You're broken. We can put you back together. Them, all his friends, coming together to be whole again. And then Charlie shows up as the puppet. Because here's the thing about Charlie and the puppet that I think is the reason why Charlie becomes the arbiter of possession. She's the one that teaches them the possession and whatnot. Is FNAF 6 security puppet. Boom. Okay, so in the security puppet mini game, security puppet is trying to get Charlie because she's outside. Every time a blonde little girl had a dead dog, I'd have 2 nickels. That's weird to have it. Do I? So damn convoluted. It's fried my brain. I think I'm gonna hit the hay. Have a good night. All right. So have a good night, man. Yeah. So Charlie gets put out. So Charlie starts getting bullied, right? So we can see it here. Charlie starts getting bullied by these kids because Charlie's dad is a murderer to them, right? And you can see all these kids. They're wearing these security bracelets. They're wearing these different color bracelets, and these bracelets are tied to the security puppet. We learn this in FNAF 6 when we see Lucky's diagram, that his blueprints, his diagram, whatever, that the security puppet was connected to security bracelets, right? They had codes, and these codes were connected to things to let the puppet know whether or not these children were out of place. You know, Charlie goes outside, and the puppet is trying to get to Charlie to try and get her back inside because it knows that Charlie's not supposed to be outside right now because her adult supervision or whatever isn't with her. Of those bracelets at theme parks that allows you on rides, they're but they're meant to stop children from being kidnapped. Because see, and this is part of my like proof of Dave being Henry's son and Charlie's twin brother, is that Henry loses his son to what he believes is a kidnapping. So what does he do when he learns that his son's been kidnapped and there's no way for him to find him or whatnot? His first action, obviously, to be upset, but his second thing is to design a... What up, Ship King? With Halloween coming, I am back from the fiery depths of the fallen Soviet Union. How is it going, Tiny Comrades? What up, Ship King? Doing pretty good, man. So his reaction to Dave going missing, being kidnapped and going missing, is he designs an animatronic whose sole purpose is to stop children from being kidnapped. He has the secondary purpose is it gives them gifts, and that's a way of like having a reason to constantly be checking in on these kids. It flies around giving them gifts as a way of like being around the children and just being around and keeping an eye on things and making sure that people aren't kidnapping them, all that good business, right? So when Charlie goes outside, it triggers the security puppet to focus on her and try and get her back inside. But the kids are bullying her because her dad's a murderer, which apparently is a reason to be bullied. And does Henry still make Theodore, Ella, etc. since they were from his grief in the books, or is he all in upping security? I think in the games he's upping security because he still has a child. He built Theodore and Ella and all that for Charlie after Charlie died, and he built a new Charlie. He then put his effort into building all of those other things for Charlie as a distraction to keep her from realizing herself as being a robot. So he built her distractions, things to keep her distracted as a small child before she became old enough to have real friends and to be distracted by real life. In the games, he doesn't do that because he doesn't design an animatronic to replace Dave. He designs an animatronic to save Charlie. Because in the book, he lost both of them, right? He lost Charlie to William, but he lost Sammy to his wife. Sammy and his wife left him in his grief over Charlie because I don't know if he went crazy or what was going on, but he started building Charlie, and that made his wife leave him. So he built, all those to distract her or whatnot. So anyways, Charlie gets locked outside. She dies. because I think this night, I don't think this is the first time she got locked out and didn't make it back in. I think this is the first time she gets locked out and doesn't get back in, right? I think this happens to her a lot, but she doesn't know what else to do. Freddy's is her home. It's where she goes when, that's where she goes, right? But anyways, tonight, though, was different. This night was different because this was also the night that Cassidy died in the hospital. So Cassidy dies in the hospital. William is once again struck with grief that he can't control, that he can't manage, because he's officially lost his child. And so he drives, and he drives to the restaurant where it happened. And when he shows up, he sees Charlie outside, alone, ripe for the picking. He sees Charlie, and he obviously is still thinking about Cassidy, and he thinks about the fact that he has lost his son to Henry's creation. He died at Henry's hand, essentially, and so he will do the same. Although he has already killed one of Henry's kids, he doesn't care. That doesn't mean they're even. He's going to make them even, because he didn't kill Dave on purpose. And Henry's killing of Cassidy wasn't retaliation. That was just Henry being bad at designing things in his mind. So he's getting even by getting in one more kill. Charlie, in the alley where no one will suspect it was him. I like how it now says that Ash has subscribed to the channel. Insanity, I think, in my opinion. Just absolutely insanity. But anyways, so, 643. Were you not subbed that whole time? Whatever. Anyways. So anyways, he kills Charlie. And Charlie has something special about her that the other children who died don't. And that is, she has the bracelet. Alright, Arcane. She has the bracelet. Now, the bracelet is directly connected to the puppet in a way that the other animatronics obviously aren't connected to anybody. So, what does the bracelet do for Charlie is it gives her a direct connection to the animatronic, the puppet, when the puppet comes out to try and save her. And the puppet ends up kind of dying, essentially, too, because of the rain and stuff. It kind of short-circuits it. So, I feel like the bracelet acts as like a conduit to allow Charlie's spirit to learn how to possess the puppet. And then when she learns how to possess the puppet, then she's able to share that knowledge with the rest of the dead children, the spirits of them. I'm leaving. All right, unknown cameraman. I'll see you later, man. Shares the secret to possession with them. And then that's why we get that, that's why we get this mini game where she goes around and puts them all in the suits. She takes them and teaches each one of them how to possess one of the animatronics. Unfortunately, the Golden Freddy suit is the only suit that's still available for possession, and it's in suit mode. So when she teaches Cassidy and Dave how to possess, they only have one suit left to possess, and it doesn't really have the option to move around like the other ones do. So I'm back in dual possession theory, because instead of dual process theory, it's dual possession theory. I'm back on that kick because I think that they already have existed together before. So them possessing the Golden Freddy suit together isn't that big of a deal for them. Like, they are capable of handling that because they've been possession buddies before, right? And I think there you go. There's the story of the MCI kids, and it all takes place in 1983. Any questions from anyone who's still here listening? It's a lot. I know it's a lot. Whew. It's only 1 o'clock. I really thought that this would take longer. Yo. It spreads over so. Just got here. With Golden Freddy being a ghostly entity every time being seen, be assumed that instead of possessing the suit, they'd manifest as what they died in. It could be, but the fact that there is no endoskeleton for them to possess to move in, like there is with the other animatronics, kind of more alludes to the fact that they are possessing the suit, but they travel differently because they don't have the proper like structure to move in. What up, Whoopster? How you doing, man? It could be that. It could be that they do that, but it seems like it would be more of like, especially if you want to go with the dual spirit theory for Golden Freddy, that they still need a vessel, right, to manifest as a physical entity. The closest thing that we see that could be otherwise construed was, and I said this earlier, I'm actually under the belief now that Dave Vengeful Spirit, because I'm a Dave Vengeful Spirit Cassidy is Crying Child stan, and I know some people are opposite, but it is what it is. Point is, I think Crying Child's name is Cassidy, and I think Vengeful Spirit's name is Dave. I think Cassidy discovers Dave in the back room right after he's been murdered, and Dave, on accident, like, possesses Cassidy, and that's where we get Psychic Friend Fredbear. I don't think it's a William Afton animatronic thing, because that doesn't make sense. We don't see anything alluding to small animatronics existing in this time period. We don't see that till, like, the closest thing we see to that anywhere near this time period is Bon Bon in 1987, and then the mini Renas. And that's about it. And we're not even 1987. In Sister Location, we don't know when that actually takes place. So we see the Babbies and the mini Renas, and they are very crude, like, miniature animatronics, really. They're not, like, fully fleshed out, super good looking animatronics. So to think that 5 to 10 years prior, we had a full-on plushy animatronic that could walk, talk, and walk, talk, and surveillance the child seems kind of far-fetched in my opinion. And as weird as it is to say, Dave possessing, like, accidentally, like, share possession of Cassidy's mind seems more likely that that's the one time we see actual manifestation happen. He's talking to Cassidy in his mind through the possession or whatnot, and that's why we see him, like, talking when other people can't hear him. Like, we see him talking, and we don't see, like, the workers react to Friend Bear talking to Cassidy. We don't see him, like, being like, no, I'm not dangerous or anything like that. We see them just continues to be like, walk towards him and scaring the shit out of him because he doesn't know that he's scaring the shit out of him. I think that's what it is. And we don't see Friend Bear in the pizzeria during those scenes. We just hear him. We just see him talking. Right? So that's my what up RNDM Facts. What up, Facts? I don't know you. You should know me. That's okay. You don't need to know me right now. You can know me later. You can get to know me. Okay, then why are you on my stream? Okay, doesn't mean you have to. Okay, so let me straighten you out. Okay, let me straighten you out right now. Just because something pops up doesn't mean you have to watch it. And just because you do decide to watch it doesn't mean you get to come into it and then tell the person, I don't want to watch you. Then don't fucking watch me. What the fuck was the point? Like, what was your goal there? What is your goal? Right? Coming into somebody's stream that you don't want to watch and telling them you don't want to watch. What's your goal? Right? Because if your goal is to piss me off, you did that. That's fine. It's a short-lived goal then because you're not coming back anyways, even if you wanted to at this point. You're getting kicked. You're getting removed. You're getting timed out, dude. So, yeah, goodbye. You got a your day-long timeout. Peace. Go somewhere else. That was ignorant. That's just you being stupid. Why are you here? Why are you streaming? I don't like you. I don't want to know you. Like, you don't. That's actually the first part. You don't know me. The stream keeps cutting out. Fix your internet. No, it says everything's fine on my part. I haven't lost any. I haven't dropped frames. Connection hasn't disconnected. Everything's fine on my end. I don't know what's going on for you. It's doing fine over here. Oh no, man. Sorry. But yeah, I think it makes more sense that that Dave possessed Cassidy accidentally, and then now I'm getting a problem too. What is happening? Hold on, why does it keep happening? What up, Anims? How we doing? Whenever I take it live, it has an issue. Why does my hair keep doing? Like I touch my hair for 1 second, I do this, and like that. Yeah, see, it's half of it's like, I'm just gonna be weird. My hair doesn't like me today. It's fun. What up, Adams? Good? I'm good, man. I'm good. Just doing the timeline thing, dude, that I said I was going to be doing today. We're officially done with FNAF 4, which is the hardest part of the whole timeline. It's a single year, but it has literally everything happen in it. '84, '85, and '86, kind of boring. Not much happening. Like, but I have to make this disclaimer. I believe that the MCI happens in 1983. I think it makes more sense, narratively speaking, and just like timeline wise, possibility wise, like everything makes more sense if it happens in 1983. Mainly because of the main reason would be FNAF 4, not security puppet, FNAF 4 minigame. Minigames, FNAF 4 minigames. Because this takes place in 1983, and this is the first victim, Dave, right? I have a whole video on this. If you guys haven't watched the video on, I believe, Dave is Vengeful Spirit and also Henry's son, go check it out. It's only like 13 minutes long. It's pretty good. But anyways, this is the first death in the MCI. So it would take place in the same, or the actual night stuff. The minigames take place in 1983. I think the midnight stuff probably takes place somewhere between 1984 to 1987. So in between 1983 and 1987 is when I believe that William Afton learns about possession and begins to experiment on remnants and agony. And I mean, in the games, obviously, we're not going to get this whole spiel thing of him learning it, but I think it's probably a classic, like, for lack of a better example, like the classic Twilight thing that happens where William witnesses possession. He's the only one that would understand the FNAF 1 phone call in the night sequence. Oh, who knows? Who knows what that's about? That's what I mean. It's the minigame. The actual night stuff. Who knows when that actually takes place? It could take place in the 90s. It could take place when Michael is in his 20s. It can take place at any point because we know for a fact that nightmare gas, which is what was probably being used on him to cause those incidents, that gas can make you believe anything is a different way. Like, it literally can make you think that you're a 13-year-old boy again, even when you're in like your mid-30s. It changes your perception of reality. So you would look down at yourself and you would see yourself as a 13-year-old boy. So it's as simple as that, or a 10-year-old boy, or a 5-year-old boy. Like, it can make you believe you're somebody that you're not, obviously, as we learn from the stories. And as I said before, the stories themselves are not game continuity, but they do provide evidence to facts that you can find in the game. So in the game, we see a situation where Michael is being tortured by these nightmare animatronics, and it's more likely because his dad is doing it to him. And I think in this case, I think he's harvesting agony. He's putting Michael, because we know from the books and stuff that agony is not related to death in the same way that possession and remnant is, right? So agony is a product created from a person going through emotional and physical trauma of the most extreme. It's when someone goes through agonizing, horrific incidences, right? They're put through torture, and it produces agony. So I think William is experimenting with agony and seeing if he can use agony in a similar way that he's learning to use remnants. Remnants seems to be the byproduct of possession, right? It's left behind in things that become possessed by spirits. And as far as I can tell by what we see in the games and we see in the books, that there are three elements that you can look at. You can see agony, you can see remnants, and you can see spirits themselves. So when we see remnants, it's not necessarily true that remnant is connected to a spirit still being involved. So there is this theory that, and it's a theory that I believe in, is that Molten Freddy is not truly the MCIs. That the MCIs themselves have actually already been saved back in FNAF 3. That the good ending is the real ending. That all of the spirits from FNAF, all of the MCI spirits, including Cassidy, have been freed. All but Dave are gone. Potentially Charlie too. But Henry is unaware of this situation because of remnants. Remnant is the byproduct. It's the echo, the shadow, the memory, like the memory ghost, essentially, that is left over from a spirit possessing something. So when William removes all of the endoskeletons in the FNAF 3 minigame, where he breaks down all 4 of the animatronics and he steals their endoskeletons, he steals them, he takes them to the sister location, he melts them down to liquefy the remnant that is entranced in the metal, and injects it into the Fun Times to try and get them possessed, essentially. And that's why the Fun Times act weird, but they don't necessarily act the same way that actual possessed animatronics do, right? They don't get up, they don't wander and try to find somebody to murder like the regular animatronics did. They didn't try to actively go out and attack you. It's now like the ghosts of their memories, right? And so it's acting in like a different coordination. I believe the mini Renas and the Babbies are the result of William's work with agony. And agony, when it's placed inside of like machines and stuff, and creates a sentient life in mechanical items, it produces a very malevolent creature that doesn't necessarily have like memory of a past life or anything. It has essentially its entire existence is anger. And that's why the Babbies and the mini Renas are like 100% trying to murder everybody and anybody. And that's why I don't believe they go out on, they don't themselves go out with like Circus Baby and stuff. Like, we don't see Circus Baby taking her Babbies with her, or Ballora taking her mini Renas with her out and about. I think they're like, they look so crudely made because they are made hastily and they're made purely for the purpose of being experimented on. But now that they've been experimented on, they exist in the place. Um, and that's why they're like so fucking terrifying, because they just want to murder everything, right? What was I? Where am I at? But as we see in the mini game where William removes the endoskeletons, in the room, you can see the 4 spirits that used to possess the 4 animatronics. So when he removed their endoskeletons and went to like melt them down and stuff, he released their spirits from the possession, and they were now free to repossess those animatronics again when Henry showed up, discovered them missing their endoskeletons, and he replaced their old endoskeletons with Endo 1s. That's why we see the withered animatronics in FNAF 2 using Endo 2 skeletons, Endo 2 skeletons, but then in FNAF 1, when we're playing, we see that those animatronics, which are the same animatronics, that they are using Endo 1 skeletons, because Henry had to use the backups that were in the parts and services room. And he ended up having to use the backups, and that's why the animatronics are still possessed by the same spirits that they were already possessed by, even though William has removed their endoskeletons and melted them down for remnants. And this is super fucking confusing, and I know that. And it took me a very long time to get to this conclusion, but I'm very happy about the fact that I'm where I'm at with it. And I feel like I get into like the weird possession science behind all this shit, whereas a lot of other people focus on like the like actual like spirit lore stuff. Owned scrap Goofy timeline about a year ago, and I now remember why I stopped. Yeah, it sucks. There's a lot that I'm gonna miss, and I'm okay with that. There's a lot that I'm gonna be wrong about. I'm okay with that. But the thing is whatever I'm wrong about, there's only one person in the world who actually knows that I'm wrong, and that's Scott. Well, now I guess there's some more people, because Steelwool probably has a lot of this known to them also. But they're the only people who know that I'm wrong. Like, everyone else can make assumptions on whether I'm right about something or wrong about something. But at the end of the day, there's only one true person in the world that is allowed to tell me I'm wrong, and that's Scott. And that's the best part about theorizing, right? Is that you can always be right. That people are allowed to tell you you're wrong. Don't get me wrong, right? You can tell me I'm wrong, just don't get me wrong. But no one can fully prove it. Like, no one can be like, you were wrong. I mean, there are certain things that you say that you're absolutely wrong. If you were like, no, Henry is the killer, no, you're wrong, you're dumb. One person tried to tell me that they thought that Henry was the one on the couch in Midnight Motorist. You're wrong. And stuff like that. But like, when you have like stories like this, where a lot of what I'm doing is like narrative suggestion, like, we get some answers about Remnant, Agony, and the spirits and stuff, but some of it is like more of like, I look at what's happening and I look at evidence in the game to prove that some of what we thought was right is actually wrong. Like, believing that Remnant is the spirits themselves, like injecting the Remnant into the Fun Times, put the spirits in the Fun Times. That's wrong. I think that that's 100% wrong. And we see that in the FNAF 3 minigame, we see that this is wrong. Right here. So, in this minigame, William has already removed all of the endoskeletons. And he's already injected the remnants into the Funtime animatronics. He has to, because he's about to die, right? So, he does this in a night. Now, how does he do this in a night? And that is because In a way, not the base. Yes, yeah. Remnant is the byproduct of possession, not the possession itself, essentially. So, but check this out, and this is the one that kills. This is the one that I love the most. Sister location map, not sister location map. This is the part that I get that a lot of people, with. Check this out. I believe, fellow theorists, that one, not this. No, check this out. So check this out. So we know that it happens in sister location, that he puts the remnant, right? That he puts the remnant in the animatronic, in the fun times, right? And we know that he does that in sister location. Check this out. So we hear in FNAF 3 that Freddy Fazbear's locations have two suits that function as both animatronics and as a wearable suit, like these two right here. This location in FNAF 4, as we have been told in FNAF 3, FNAF 4 is a Freddy Fazbear's location. And I put it to the community that it is not just a Freddy Fazbear's location, it is the FNAF 1 location and the FNAF 6 location also. And if that's the case, fellow theorists, then we have a secret tunnel that leads from sister location, bunker, to the FNAF 1 pizzeria. Where would that secret tunnel lead but to the secret room? No. So here, and I'm working on, and the video will be coming out within probably the month, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm actually working on a theory where I believe Into the Pit and Stitchline in general is actually a retelling / continuation of the FNAF 2 events, which obviously takes place at a completely different building in a different town. So I think Into the Pit, because ID Fantasy pretty much proved that the Into the Pit location is not Hurricane, Utah, that it would take place in a different town in Utah, right? So I believe that the FNAF 2 location, which is a new, different location, a sister location, would also be in a different town, because that's how you franchise. You don't put up 5 different pizzerias in a single town. You spread out to different areas in the state and then in the country. So I believe that that FNAF 2 location is a franchise. Is franchising. They're spreading out, and that's where they're at, is that they are actually they're Into the Pit, but it's a retelling. It's like the Silver Eyes with the MCI, Stitchline, DCI, pizza, the Plex books, the Pizza Plex books, Security Breach. They're all retellings. They're novelizations and a new a different universe version, because Into the Pit, it's pretty much assumed that the MCI would have never happened. Like, one of the events never happened, right? And it's the same thing with Silver Eyes. One of the 2 death events don't happen. It's one event. It's not 2 separate events. But we know FNAF 1 and FNAF 2 are 2 separate events. They happen at different times. They use a suit in both situations, but the suits are at separate times, because this event clearly happened in 1987, whereas the first MCI event must have happened in 1983. And I believe that the DCI, the FNAF 2 event, is the reason why Henry doesn't come back into the picture, like, story-wise, until FNAF 6. Well, we actually hear about Henry again in FNAF 3, right? Because he says that he talks to an old person who used to work there, owner or whatever, who lets them know about the secret rooms. So I think that was Henry finally letting somebody find William to find out if he was actually dead or not.
Because I think Henry, at some point, I think Henry, between the time that he buries William behind the wall and has someone dig him back out, I think he learns about possession and everything too. And he must think to himself, William might still be alive, or well, might still be around, right? And if that's the case, then he didn't actually fully take care of him like he planned to, like he wanted to. So he's like, now I gotta get him out, so that way I can then do something about it. So when he finds out that William survived, that's when he starts the FNAF 6 scheme, right? But anyways, getting ahead of myself on that one. So yeah, so we see here that the FNAF 1 location is probably the FNAF 4 location, which is probably to the FNAF 6 location, which is underneath the Pizzaplex, but above the sister location. They're all like in a fucking line on top of each other, right? So he steals their endoskeletons. He takes them down to sister location. He melts them down, injects them into the Fun Times. And now the Fun Times are functioning off of these remnant consciousness that have been created. But in FNAF 3, if we complete all the mini games correctly, as Michael is doing what he can to save his little brother, and he's following directions that he's gained from being undead himself. I don't know if like being undead, but like being in your own corpse or something allows you to have like some kind of weird otherworldly connection that you wouldn't obviously have as a human, like fully alive person. But he follows some weird steps or something to assist Charlie and the other spirits in giving Cassidy the birthday that he never got to have, which set all of their spirits free. Except for Dave. Because Dave was never intending on being released. Because Dave, not only being the first, but having to be in the pizzeria and witness all of the other deaths, and is the only one of the spirits who truly knows. Like Susie hints in, but actually Susie's gone. FNAF 3 good ending, I think, is the canon ending. And I think when UCN happens, it's all Dave. It's all Vengeful Spirit. And I think he gives lines to these characters to, like, reinforce the, like, what happened and stuff. And, like, that's why he gives Susie's, like, Chica's lines, like, I was the first. I saw everything. She was. She was the first of the serial killer kills. She was the first planned kill of William Afton. She was the first one to be lured into the back for the exact purpose of being murdered by William Afton. What's happening here? Hold on, I got a weird notification. Oh, it was just him doing the sub thing. Okay, cool. But yeah, she was the first. But Dave has seen everything. He's seen the horror and the badness. What up, Magma? Of William Afton, and he himself is set himself to making sure that he pays for what he's done, right? And that's where we get the UCN. And I believe also that Old Man Consequences is the spirit of Henry post FNAF 6 burn down, and is talking to his own son. He knows that Vengeful Spirit / Golden Freddy / the one you should not have killed / Dave is his son, and that and he learned that a while ago. And so I also believe, and I said it in my video of Dave, Golden Freddy is Dave, who is blah blah blah. When you go down into the lake and you fall down, I went down, whatever. You come to that picture of like what looks like either an angel with its arms spread out, or what could be an adult with two smaller with two children in his arms. I think it's the latter. I think it is Henry finally being able to embrace his two children after all these years of trying to find out how to lay them all to rest. I think he sacrifices himself to guarantee what he thinks is guarantee William meeting his demise, only to learn that in doing so, he has placed his own son into a loop of like torturing William, and he believes that his son won't get to fully rest until he has left William alone and left William to his, hell. Right? Imagine Henry hiring the guy who killed his son, and the robots aren't even possessed. It's just Henry. Wait, hold on. Who killed his son? What do you mean? Henry doesn't ever hire William. Just programming the robots for that would be funny. I don't think there's never a time when Henry hires William. He hires Michael. The bite of no, that's not Henry's son. That's William's son that gets bit. But he didn't hire William. They're business partners. They own Freddy's together. Oh yeah, sorry. No. William and Henry are business partners. They own Freddy Fazbear's together. But when Henry gets accused of murdering the children in '83, that makes William the sole owner and CEO of Freddy Fazbear's until 1987, or somewhere around there. I think what I think happens is like around 83 or whatnot, I think they sell part ownership of the company to like a larger corporation or whatnot for for franchising and whatnot, because we see in Sister Location that William has to explain away why Baby and the other Fun Times have some of the features that they have. Which, when you think about it, that meeting has to take place before 1987. I believe that FNAF 2 Location and Sister Location and Circus Baby's Pizza World open at the same time. They open within the same time period of each other. Because we know that FNAF 2 Location is only open for a couple of weeks before it shuts down because children get murdered there. And I believe that the reason for the murders is because William Afton, Elizabeth gets scooped, snatched, grabbed, clawed, whatever you want to call it, and that she dies. What I wrote down to she dies. Well, she dies, and then from her dying, the same situation happens that happened with Cassidy going into a coma. William doesn't know how to deal with his emotional trauma. He's already lost one child to animatronics. Now he's lost a second one, and this one's his own doing. He doesn't know how to deal with that, and again, he goes bully mode. The only way I can deal with my personal problem is if it's everybody's personal problem. So he goes out and he murders a bunch of children so that other people are in the same predicament as him, right? And he does it, but the way that he originally planned on murdering or stealing children for his experiments, it's not like your theory, though, right? Oh, it's not like yours isn't like mine. That's fine, man. That's all cool. Like I said, everybody is right and wrong at the same time. because there's only one person in the world that can truly tell you that you are wrong, and that's Scott. But no, I think he planned on using the fun times to kidnap children, in a way that he could get away with it, or like, plausible deniability. But I think he planned on kidnapping children and experimenting on them for, agony, or to see if you could extract remnant from living bodies, or something like that. And then, but when it went wrong, he again, emotionally distraught, didn't know how to deal with the situation, and was like, okay, I can't rely on this, because obviously I can't rely on it. And so fuck it, I'll do it myself. And so he dons the yellow suit again, because that's his only way of knowing how to murder children correctly, and starts the whole thing over again and murders another 6 children. Or 5. He murders 5 more children. Right? Exactly. Better not find the blueprints, blah, blah, blah. So he murders another 5 children. I know some people think it's 6, but I was looking through like the game files, or like the game, like the audio tapes and stuff, and it's 5 kids again in FNAF 2, just like in FNAF 1. And I think people think that it was 6 because originally we thought that it was 6 because we thought that the puppet was separate. That we thought that Charlie dies too at some point, but she doesn't count towards MCI either. She doesn't count towards anything. But it's actually only 5, right? And all that. Now, I think Into the Pit, like I said, is a retelling of FNAF 2. And I think what that is what we're getting is the agony memories of these kids dying, because their blood are like as a group, for some reason, we don't know why, they all ended up getting killed, I guess, near or at the ball pit, or the ball pit just happened to collect blood from all of them or whatnot. Point is that they all of their bloods, because I never got a good theory on this, are the dead kids in Foxy Go 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 another set of kids? No, I think they're the same kids. I think it's an agony memory. Like, we learn about agony memories later in time, right? So, we learn that the dead don't remember things correctly. So I think Into the Pit gives us an answer to why we're seeing these mini games. I think they're agony memories that the suits and stuff are like giving to Michael in some way. Like he's receiving these agony memories from the dead children that are in the animatronics, but because they don't remember things correctly, they're small children. So one, they don't remember things anyways because they're kids, and kids don't perceive the world in the same way that humans do, that adults do. And two, they don't fully remember everything because their body is missing. We learn in some of the books that a spirit looks for its body, and if it can't find its body, then its memories never fully, they gain their memories back fully when they find their body, but they don't fully remember their life prior to death until that happens. So they remember some things but not everything, and they don't remember it correctly or in the right way. So instead it's more of like an agony memory of them trying to, in this case would probably be Foxy's memory, agony memory, teaching Michael what happened in the best way possible, which was kids died. Surprise. Everything was good. Everything was good. Everyone was dead. Kind of situation. It's the same thing, and I think that's what all these mini games are. Is they are the agony memories, like what we see in Into the Pit, but in a different way. Into the Pit's agony memories is as we learn later on in the Stitchline story, that Into the Pit isn't a time-traveling story. We thought it was. We felt like it was, but it's not. What it is when he fully succumbs to, or he fully envelops himself in the ball pit with all of the balls, he fully dives into the agony memories of all of these children combined, right? And so they combine, remember that there are 6 spirits at this FNAF 2 location because Charlie the puppet was sent to the FNAF 2 location from the FNAF 1 location for some reason. She ended up going to the FNAF 2 location at some point, probably as like part of like the grand opening or whatever. And then, well, when she gets sent there when the FNAF 1 location gets closed down temporarily, and all of the animatronics get sent there. She gets sent there too. So them 5 dying, and then Charlie were active, like they were actively traveling around the place during the time that the deaths happen. So their blood. The 5 kids' blood get on the ball pits, but they also remember the spirit of Charlie traveling around. So that makes it 6, and blah, 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 blah. And again, it's a retelling, and it's not the actual game itself. So there's a lot of mystery there. What you may need to be attacked. I'm hearing a lot of odd noises come. Okay, I'll try and be a little bit quieter. Sorry. It's really weird seeing you talk in chat. But okay, I'll try and be a little bit quieter. But yeah, so the ball pit is just agony memory, and that's also why Pit Trap is like a legitimate monster and not a person in a suit, because their memories aren't the best, and they remember him as a monster in a suit. And it's also why all the deaths occur at like one time, because they don't necessarily remember that they all died at different times. They just know that they all died in the pizzeria, and it's kind of a blur to them. So the agony memories are kind of taking everything that happened and throwing it all together, right? And into this big stew of agony memory. So the pit trap is a legitimate monster because that's what they remember him as, and that explains and that's the reasoning behind Pit Trap being a monster instead of being William Afton in a suit. Trying to think of anything else. Trying to think of, but yeah, that's I believe that is a Into the Pit is just Into the Pit, and Stitch Line in general is just a retelling of the FNAF 2 situation, the DCI and stuff, which is awesome because that means that Scott has given us a conclusion to that story, because it kind of shows up in FNAF 2 and then we basically don't hear about it again, right? We don't learn anything about it anymore after that. It's just a thing that we know happened at some point. We just know that there's 5 more dead kids out there, and that Charlie was privy to their murders, and whatever. That something must have happened. But we don't know. We learn eventually through the Stitch Line whether or not their souls end up resting and things end up happening for them in a good way. But yeah. Oh, but I think that's also because in the Stitch Line they fight with William Afton or something like that, kind of like we do in the FNAF 1 movie. They kind of do the same thing where they're like, "Look, this is what he did to you," and then they remember, "Oh wait, no, it wasn't a monster; it was him." I don't know. Trying to think of what else. But no, the kids in Foxy Go 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 were just the MCI kids, just all like laid out for you to know that that's them. There's all 5 of them. And that's how we know that the MCI is 5 kids, because we never really get a full explanation on the 5 kids, right? We just have the 4. We have Susie, Fritz, Gabriel, and Jeremy, but we never really get the 5th kid. And I know some people want to shoehorn in Andrew. Doesn't make sense for the games. Andrew's not a character that existed at all in Scott's mind, even when all of this was being created. Andrew's a new character from the Frights series, and it's a retelling. It's a new way of looking at stuff, and that's the thing that the Daco interview, the second interview, made very clear to me. Right, was that Scott made a very clear statement. He said that some of the stories are horror stories that he thought up, that he thought would sound cool in a book. Okay? They're not necessarily full continuity stories. They're not fully connected to the universe in that way. They are just like, I mean, because like, here's the thing. We have stories like the Bonnie gets a guy pregnant and he gives birth to an animatronic. That's creepy, weird alien bullshit. It's not something that actually exists in the real game continuity storyline. We have sea Bonnies. Definitely not something we see in the game. Not something that makes sense in the game. We have like the little frettles that will steal your consciousness and swap bodies with you. With that, come on. Like, there's a lot of things, a lot of the horror stories do not directly connect with the game continuity storyline. They connect with the overarching, canonicity of the multiverse, and some of them connect to some of the other books or the stories cross together. I think Stitchline is its own continuity. I think the Tiger Rock is its own continuity. And I think Silver Eyes is its own continuity, and the games are their own continuity. And I believe that Into the Pit, the game, is now creating a second game continuity that is going to be based off of the Stitchline continuity. And I'm down for that. That's awesome. I hope that continues to develop in that way. I hope that what is it, Cybercat or GameCat or whatever they're called, I hope that they get to continue to make more games based off of the Stitchline stories, right? And create a new game continuity, because this one's going to be more enclosed. It'll be a little bit easier. That game will be a little bit easier because the continuity will be a lot more clear. And I think that's something that we need as a fandom. I think we need at least one of these continuities to be very precise and self-contained in a way that allows us to analyze it without having to look at every other piece of literature that exists within the same universe, essentially, in the same multiverse, to find clues. I think we need a game continuity that is easy to follow for people who are less interested in doing what I'm doing now. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. But that's the thing, is that you can have that. That's the thing, is we act like that's such a... The problem is we act like it's such a difficult situation to theorize with it. But here's the thing. This kind of situation has existed for decades. It's called the Marvel the Marvel universe, the Marvel multiverse. Like, Marvel and DC, they both these comic books, the comic book franchises, these giant juggernauts of literature and content, they both have the same thing going on. They have a multiverse, and people, the problem is that it doesn't translate directly the same, because we as a theorist community got to watch this multiverse come into fruition during our lifetime. It would be the same as trying to talk to like boomers who were around when Spider-Man and Superman and all that came into existence in the beginning. They had this one comic book line that told their story, but then at some point down the line, another comic book came out that was a different universe that used the same characters, but some things existed differently, and they had to disconnect the two and understand that some things Some things were the same and some things were different. It's like the example I've been using for people a lot is look at Spider-Man and his multiverse, the Spider-Man multiverse. You know, Earth 313, Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man his freshman year of high school, right? But Spider-Man 616, he's in college when it happens. In Spider-Man 175 or whatever, like these different continuities, these different universes of Spider-Man, Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man at different times in his life. Some he never becomes Spider-Man at all, and someone else becomes Spider-Man, like Miles Morales or Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane. Like other people become Spider-Man too. But in those universes, sometimes Peter Parker still exists. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes Flash exists. Sometimes he doesn't. There are these overlapping parallels that exist between the universes, but they're not always the exact same. Sometimes Norman Osborn doesn't exist. Sometimes Harry Osborn doesn't exist. Like all these characters, all these timelines, all these actions and stuff exist or don't exist. Sometimes other superheroes exist. Sometimes it's just Spider-Man. Sometimes Spider-Man's a goddamn pig. But they all exist. They're all real. They're all part of the multiverse that is Marvel, and they all have parallels that they share and they don't share. And we're cool with that. Like as a community, we're cool with that because that's been existing since before we started ingesting this media. FNAF feels different because we were there at the conception of it, and it was just one set of games, and then it branched. And we don't like that it branched because we still had questions about the original games before the branch happened. But the same thing happened to Spider-Man fans way back in the day. When Stan Lee decided to make a new universe of Spider-Man, there were still questions about the original Spider-Man. There's still to this day questions about the original Spider-Man. And there always will be questions. But again, we weren't alive when that happened, so we don't care. That is an ingrained part of that IP. Whereas with FNAF, there was a time when it was just the games and nothing else. And we were trying to figure out the mysteries. Oh, man. Been going at this for a while. How's everybody doing, by the way? How we doing, guys? How we doing? So that might help people. Start thinking about FNAF the same way you think about superheroes. Oh, man. I might actually just end it for right now because we're at a good stopping point. I don't know where we're going to be at in an hour for a good stopping point, but I think we're going to be done now. Thank you guys so much for watching and all that. Appreciate you guys. Love your faces. It's 2:00 in the morning for me. You guys have been awesome. We've been going for a while now. I don't even know how long. I don't have an actual time that tells me. Tired. I've been up for 18 hours and my immune system is running off of a can of Coke. Well, you should fix that, my dude. For sure. What time is it? Well, we got started at before 11. So we've been running for over 3 hours now. So anyways, if you guys haven't hit the like button already, make sure you guys hit the like button. If you guys haven't hit the sub button yet, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you get notified whenever I go live. We do not stream tomorrow. We will be streaming Thursday night, obviously. Well, Friday morning, Thursday night, whatever you want to call it, 12:45 a.m. Friday, 12:45 a.m. Saturday, 12:45 a.m. Sunday. We'll be back into some Roblox stuff. Maybe do some more of the Piggy run through, or something else. I don't know yet. The merge, the toy merge, which was super entertaining and fun and just killed time. It was so good. Anyways, love your faces. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you guys on Thursday/Friday morning.